Chapter 1289. Chu Fengmian flew at full speed with the power of Jianwang transformation and arrived at the edge of the Nether Ghost realm after 10 hours. The young emperor was burning with rage, and Chu Fengmian dared not provoke him. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton was something the young emperor was determined to obtain, but Chu Fengmian had plotted against it and it had fallen into his hands. Chu Fengmian could clearly sense the young emperor's anger without thinking. Now, it was best to avoid him. Taking a treasure from the young emperor was almost an audacious thing to do. With the young emperor's full strength, Chu Fengmian would undoubtedly die in one strike. However, riches and honor came with danger. Chu Fengmian's harvest this time was worth the risk. In a cave. The cave's surroundings were densely packed with formations and restrictions that shielded its aura. Even the ancient river sword formation formed by 7 spiritual swords outside the cave was set up by Chu Fengmian as a precaution. After doing all this carefully, Chu Fengmian's mind suddenly stirred. A bronze statue suddenly appeared in front of him. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton. Now, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton no longer had the terrifying demonic aura. It looked extraordinary. However, Chu Fengmian knew very well that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton was still a supreme treasure even after 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 years had passed. The divine tree? Chu Fengmian took out the bronze heavenly demon skeleton and was still observing it. All of a sudden, Chu Fengmian felt a strong desire coming from his body. This desire did not come from anything else, but from the tree of God. What's going on? Does the divine tree want to devour the bronze heavenly demon skeleton? Chu Fengmian's mind went blank. This was the first time Chu Fengmian felt such a strong desire from the divine tree. Although the divine tree liked to devour blood essence, it was a far cry from what it was feeling now. If Chu Fengmian could refine the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, it might be enough for him to comprehend the power of the heavenly demon. After all, the bronze heavenly demon was one of the 10 heavenly demons who had stepped into the celestial realm. Even if Chu Fengmian could comprehend 1/10 or even 100th of its power, it would still be no problem for him to compete with someone like Xiao Di. But now, the sacred tree also wanted to obtain the bronze heavenly demon's remains. This caused Chu Fengmian to be in a difficult position. However, Chu Fengmian thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. After all, Chu Fengmian was not a demon, nor did he intend to become a demonic cultivator. Even if he had comprehended the origin of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, his strength was still far from Chu Fengmian's. It was better to give it to the divine tree. The divine tree was the source of Chu Fengmian's power. No matter how strong a warrior demon god was, they still needed a corporeal body. The divine tree was Chu Fengmian's corporeal body. The stronger the divine tree was, the more benefits Chu Fengmian would reap. Swallow. In the blink of an eye, Chu Fengmian grabbed the bronze heavenly demon skeleton and swallowed it into his body. He then came to the divine tree. Sensing the power of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, Chu Fengmian could feel the supreme joy of the divine tree. Vines were wrapped around the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. Crack! Thanks to the countless vines, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton suddenly exploded and turned into crystal fragments. Chu Fengmian's eyes swept over the fragments. These crystals were a whole yuan technique. There were a total of 129,600 crystals in total. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton was actually made up of pieces of crystal fragments. Each crystal fragment was a unique individual when taken out individually. However, once they were combined, they would become a whole, a flawless whole. What realm is this? Immortal true body? This body has reached a state of perfection. Is this the legendary immortal real body? Chu Fengmian's heart was in a perilous situation. Even an extreme immortal weapon would not be able to break the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in the slightest. Once the crystals on the surface gathered together, they would become a single entity that could not be separated. Unless all 129,600 crystals on the surface were shattered, it would be impossible to shake this body. In terms of physical strength, Chu Fengmian's body was almost strong enough to laugh at the Emperor realm. With the roots of the divine tree tightly wrapped around his body, his physical strength was enough to surpass that of Emperor Gu's. However, compared to the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in front of him, Chu Fengmian's body was simply too fragile. There was no comparison between the two. It was no wonder that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton had not decayed for 1,000,000 years. This body was no longer a body of flesh and blood, but had surpassed the category of flesh and blood. It had reached a state of immortality. The crystals in front of him seemed to be forged by heaven and earth. They were more mysterious than any spirit artifact and had no weakness. However, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in front of him didn't have a single weakness. There wasn't a single flaw in it, and it was flawless. Is the divine tree going to devour these crystals? Chu Fengmian exclaimed. Suddenly, he saw the divine tree waving its vines and sweeping away the crystals. As soon as the crystals fused with the god tree, they were actually devoured by the god tree. Crack, crack. The moment the perfect crystals were devoured by the divine tree, countless cracks suddenly appeared on them. Then, they shattered one by one and turned into pure energy that was devoured by the divine tree. At the same time, Chu Fengmian could feel that his body was undergoing an earth-shaking change because of the integration of these crystals. What kind of existence is this divine tree? Even this immortal real body can't withstand the devouring of the divine tree? The moment Chu Fengmian saw the immortal real body, he seemed to have a feeling that there was no power in the world that could harm it. However, these crystals were extremely fragile in front of the divine tree and could be devoured at will. Chu Fengmian suddenly had a feeling in his mind that the divine tree might be more powerful than he had imagined. An endless stream of crystals were devoured by the divine tree. Chu Fengmian could see with his own eyes that the divine tree was becoming bigger and bigger. At the same time, even Chu Fengmian's body was undergoing changes. Chapter 1290. What's going on? Why is my body changing? Chu Fengmian had thought that the divine tree would only strengthen itself after devouring the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. However, this time, it was completely different from before. As the godly tree devoured and refined the crystals, Chu Fengmian's body began to change. His flesh and blood kept condensing and transforming. Chu Fengmian's body was twitching involuntarily. His body was expanding and transforming again and again, and he was enduring great pain every time. It was an extreme pain that Chu Fengmian had never experienced before. What made Chu Fengmian feel no pain was that he couldn't stop the pain at all. His body seemed to have broken away from his control and was expanding and reforming again and again. 2 hours passed. Inside the cave, Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood had undergone hundreds of changes. Every change seemed to be changing Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood. After 2 hours, Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood were completely different from before. Finally, I've endured it. 2 hours later, Chu Fengmian finally sensed that the changes in his body had finally stopped. Even though Chu Fengmian had endured countless pains in his life, the pain of his flesh and blood transformation was still somewhat unbearable. It had already surpassed the pain of the flesh. Perhaps some of the weaker warriors wouldn't be able to bear it and would die from the pain. Let's see what's happening. Under such pain, Chu Fengmian had no time to observe what was happening to his body. When he came to, he hurriedly released his spiritual consciousness to observe his body. Immortal true body? Could it be that my body has transformed into an immortal real body? Chu Fengmian observed his body and said in disbelief. Chu Fengmian's body was now divided into 129,600 crystals. All of his flesh and blood had turned into hexagonal crystals. It was very similar to the bronze heavenly demon skeleton that Chu Fengmian saw just now. It was just that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton's crystals were no longer flesh and blood, but a kind of jade-like material. Chu Fengmian's crystals were still flesh and blood. This was something that only the legendary immortal true body could achieve. Condense. Chu Fengmian's mind quietly moved. Under Chu Fengmian's control, these crystals suddenly began to condense. 129,600 crystals immediately gathered together. Under Chu Fengmian's control, the crystals gathered together to form a perfect and flawless formation. In Chu Fengmian's body, there wasn't the slightest flaw or weakness. Undying true body. This was the level of the undying true body. The legendary immortal true body was flawless, without a single flaw. It would not have such a weakness, and no attacks would be able to leave a mark on it. For example, many venerable sovereigns and even heavenly beings had experienced countless life and death battles. Perhaps their bodies would be left with injuries from the past. These injuries were the weakest parts of their bodies. They were also their weaknesses. Once they were in a battle of the same level, if their weaknesses were struck, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. Once an immortal true body was achieved, it would be completely different. An immortal true body would be forever flawless and close to perfection unless it was directly destroyed by supreme divine power. However, a true immortal true body should be like the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, showing a crystalline and translucent jade-like state. Although Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood had turned into crystals, these crystals were still made of flesh and blood. This also proved that Chu Fengmian hadn't really reached the level of an immortal true body. There was still a long way to go. Rumor has it that the crystals of a true deathless true body are the eyes of a spell formation. 129,600 of them are enough to form a huge spell formation, which can be used to bolster the body, and allow it to withstand repeated attacks. As of now, I can't do that. Chu Fengmian felt that his current physical body had only touched the edge of the immortal true body. He was half a step into it, and still had a long way to go to reach the true immortal true body. However, compared to other demon gods, Chu Fengmian's physical body had reached an amazing level. Even Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations couldn't be as perfect as Chu Fengmian in terms of physical body. After all, if one wanted to completely destroy Chu Fengmian's physical body, they would have to destroy all 129,600 crystals. Even Emperor Gu might not be able to do this. Only the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations could possibly do it. I didn't expect that after letting the divine tree devour the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, my body would develop toward the level of an immortal true body. Chu Fengmian wasn't surprised to see this result. An immortal true body. Chu Fengmian had only read about it in ancient books. It was said that even many celestial beings and mythological lands experts hadn't condensed an immortal true body. Only a small number of experts had the opportunity to condense an immortal true body. After all, the bronze heavenly demon was one of the 10 heavenly demons. Only the ancestor of the demon race had reached the level of an immortal true body. Although Chu Fengmian had only touched the entrance of an immortal true body, he had already surpassed countless sovereigns and even many celestial beings. As long as Chu Fengmian's strength continued to improve, he would be able to transform his body into a true immortal true body one day. Moreover, even now, Chu Fengmian's half-step immortal true body was still very useful in terms of protecting his life. This time, even if he was hunted down by experts at the level of Emperor Gu, Chu Fengmian had the ability to escape unscathed. I've gained a lot this time. Condensing a half-step immortal true body was definitely a pleasant surprise for Chu Fengmian. He hadn't thought of this when he seized the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. It could be said that it was by chance. Although the bronze heavenly demon skeleton had been devoured by the divine tree, Chu Fengmian didn't regret it. Reaching the threshold of an immortal true body was much more useful than obtaining several secret skills and cultivation methods. Chapter 1291. Chu Fengmian had stepped into the half-step immortal realm after absorbing the bronze heavenly devil skeleton from the divine tree. His body was comparable to Emperor Gu's. It could even be said that Emperor Gu's body wasn't as perfect as Chu Fengmian's. Below Emperor Gu's level, Chu Fengmian could sweep through anyone. Right now, Chu Fengmian had no problem tearing apart a 3 tribulation true emperor with his bare hands. Such strength was enough to look down on the newcomers this year. Young Master Mu wasn't even an ant in front of Chu Fengmian. However, there were many more terrifying geniuses in the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. It was said that the most talented core disciples in the Sacred Dragon's secret domain could contend against a 6 tribulation true emperor at the quasi-emperor realm. However, many of these core disciples had already been at the quasi-emperor realm for several hundred years. They had even deliberately suppressed their cultivation and used the resources of the Holy Dragon's secret realm to continuously accumulate strength. That was how they managed to reach their current strength. Currently, Chu Fengmian was only a newcomer. Once Chu Fengmian entered the sacred dragon mystery realm and obtained the resources there, his strength would increase to another level. At that time, Chu Fengmian would not fear even those core disciples. I wonder how many demonic bones there are in Shuigongzi's empty ring. 5 days have already passed. Chu Fengmian calculated that he had been in the Nether Ghost realm for 5 days now. There were only 2 days left before the deadline. Chu Fengmian didn't forget his goal in coming to the Nether Ghost realm. He wanted to pass the test of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain and compete for the top spot. Although the top 2,000 were qualified to enter the Sacred Dragon's secret domain, Chu Fengmian had already told him that Chu Fengmian wanted to enter the secret domain. However, Luya had told Chu Fengmian that the higher one's ranking was, the more benefits they would receive. Especially the top spot would receive heaven-shaking resources. Chu Fengmian had to fight for the top spot. It would be too late for Chu Fengmian to hunt down the demonic beasts by himself. Furthermore, the young emperor was currently enraged. Chu Fengmian didn't want to provoke him at this time. However, after Chu Fengmian had killed the bloody prince, he had also taken his empty ring. Don't disappoint me. Chu Fengmian was filled with anticipation as he took out the blood prince's spatial ring. With the blood prince dead, the restrictions on the spatial ring were all broken. Chu Fengmian poured his spiritual energy into it. The spatial ring was opened by injecting spiritual power. What entered Chu Feng's eyes was a mountain of demonic bones. Each demonic bone was only a few meters long at most. However, the demonic bones before him were so densely packed that they formed a mountain. At a glance, the empty ring was filled to the brim with demonic bones. How much is this? When Chu Fengmian saw so many devil bones, he was stunned. Chu Fengmian couldn't count the number at a glance. After using his spiritual sense to carefully examine the area, Chu Fengmian saw that there were at least 10 million devil bones. 10 million demonic bones. It had to be known that when Chu Fengmian killed Lin Shui, he had only obtained 100,000 devil bones. That number was something Chu Fengmian couldn't gather even if he slaughtered for 7 days and 7 nights. Now, Blood Prince's empty ring had millions of demonic bones. Seeing this, Chu Fengmian's lips finally curled into a smile. This time, Chu Fengmian would definitely be first place. Even young Master Mu, who had countless martial artists from Monarch Mu's association to hunt for him, could not surpass this number. It had to be known that young Master Mu had used a secret technique to control tens of thousands of martial artists and demon gods. They had been hunting for him, which was why he had such a shocking number. Of course, the grades of these demonic bones were very low. After all, the martial artists and demon gods controlled by Blood Prince were only average in strength. However, this number was enough to crush everything. Other than these demonic bones, let's see if there's anything else. Chu Fengmian continued to observe Blood Prince's empty ring. Other than the mountain of demonic bones, Chu Fengmian also discovered several gourds of various sizes. These gourds were called Qianquan gourds. Chu Fengmian was no stranger to them. Back when he killed Lin Shui and the others, Chu Fengmian had also discovered such gourds. They were used to store elixirs. Open. Chu Fengmian pointed his finger and opened one of the Qianquan gourds. Immediately, a medicinal fragrance filled the air. In this Qianquan gourd, there were countless colorless elixirs the size of longans. They contained the 5 elements spirit. 5 elements great elixirs. These elixirs were unique to the Avalon of 5 elements. They were 5 elements great elixirs. This Qianquan gourd was filled to the brim with such 5 elements great elixirs. There were a total of 10,000 elixirs neatly placed inside. If this was converted to contribution points, it would be 10,000 contribution points. Blood Prince's wealth was indeed shocking. Chu Fengmian could not help but sigh. When Chu Fengmian killed Lin Shui and the others, there were only 3,000 5-elements great elixirs in their empty rings. Now, there were more than 10,000 5-elements great elixirs in Blood Prince's empty ring. Moreover, Chu Fengmian could see more than 10 Qianquan gourds. Get out of my way! Chu Fengmian grabbed another Qianquan gourd and opened it. This Qianquan gourd was smaller than the previous one. There were 5,000 5-elements great elixirs in it. There were also some bigger Qianquan gourds that contained 20,000 5-elements great elixirs. There were a total of 13 Qianquan gourds of various sizes. There were a total of 150,000 5-elements great elixirs. Suddenly rich. There was only one word in Chu Fengmian's mind. 150,000 5-elements great elixirs. This was a huge amount of wealth. Many of the true disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension might not even have such a shocking amount of wealth. Killing Blood Prince was more profitable than killing a true disciple in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. There is one last gourd. There were a total of 14 gourds in Blood Prince's empty ring. Chu Fengmian had opened 13 of them. They were all filled with 5-elements great elixirs. Chu Fengmian had never seen the last gourd. It was also a Qianquan gourd. However, compared to the other 13 gourds, it was of a much higher grade. Open! Chu Fengmian grabbed the Qianquan gourd and opened it again. The moment the Qianquan gourd was opened, a glaring 5-colored light flew out. This 5-colored light was formed from the 5-elements spiritual energy. It was formed from the purest 5-elements spiritual energy. When the gourd was opened, the 5-elements spiritual energy broke through the air. This made Chu Fengmian even more curious about what was in the Qianquan gourd. When the Qianquan gourd was opened, the space was huge. It was not as crowded as the previous gourds. Chapter 1292. 5 Elemental Saint Elixir Pills. Chu Fengmian took a look and recognized the 500 Langan-sized elixir pills. What kind of elixir pills were they? Regardless of whether it was in the Avalon of 5 Elements or the Holy Dragon's Secret Dimension, the elixir pills used for cultivation were divided into 3 categories: Great Elixir, Saint Elixir, and Emperor Elixir. 105 elemental Great Elixir pills were worth 1 5-elemental Saint Elixir pill. 10,000 5-elemental Saint Elixir pills were worth 1 5-elemental Emperor Elixir pill. During the Holy Dragon's Secret Dimensions assessment, Emerald Sky Emperor Gu had promised that every disciple who entered the Holy Dragon's Secret Dimension would receive a Jade Dragon Saint Elixir pill. This had caused countless demon gods to go crazy. Now, there were 505 elemental Saint Elixir pills in the Qianquan gourd. In terms of value, it was worth 50,000 5-elemental Great Elixir pills. Good Elixir. These 5-elemental Saint Elixir pills are much purer than the 5-elemental Great Elixir pills. Although they only contain 10 times the spiritual energy of the 5-elemental Great Elixir pills, they can easily remove the impurities and save a lot of trouble. Chu Fengmian took a look at the 5-elemental Saint Elixir pills and praised. Every medicine was poisonous to some extent. All spirit pills, even saint pills, would have some impurities. Once a large amount of impurities were swallowed and refined, the impurities would be gone. First, these impurities would accumulate in the demon god martial artist's body. If a large amount of impurities accumulated, it would affect the demon god martial artist's body. Second, resistance. If a large amount of 5-elemental Great Elixir pills were consumed at once, the effect of each pill would gradually weaken until it was completely ineffective. Therefore, some powerful and wealthy geniuses would choose 5-elemental Saint Elixir pills, or even 5-elemental Emperor Elixir pills. Of course, there were only a few geniuses who could consume a large amount of 5-elemental Saint Elixir pills. In the Holy Dragon's Secret Dimension, only core disciples were qualified. For example, some of the best among the true disciples might be able to do it. For example, Blood Prince. His father was Emperor Gu. In his empty ring, there were a large amount of 5-elemental Great Elixir pills. Obviously, even Bloody Prince would use the 5-elemental Great Elixir for his daily cultivation. As for the 5 elemental Saint Elixir, he would only use it when he wanted to break through to the next level or when he wanted to condense the laws of heaven and earth. I can save these 5 elemental sacred pills first. When I have a breakthrough, I will consume them again. Chu Fengmian confirmed it before putting the Qianquan gourds into his empty ring. This was definitely a windfall. Although Chu Fengmian could continuously condense spirit stones, a large amount of spirit stones might not necessarily be enough to exchange for pills of this level. In the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and the Avalon of 5 Elements, elixirs were the real currency. This was because the warriors and demon immortals there were constantly thinking about how to improve their abilities. As for spirit stones, they were also valuable, but there might not be people willing to exchange large amounts of pills for them. Chu Fengmian put all the wealth in the Blood Prince's empty ring into his own empty ring. Suddenly, a jade talisman, which was originally quietly hanging on Chu Fengmian's chest, suddenly emitted a strange light. This jade talisman was the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's jade talisman. The jade talisman was shining, which meant that the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's assessment had ended. It's only been 5 days, and it ended early? Chu Fengmian calculated. He should have been in the Nether Ghost region for a total of 5 days. According to the rules of the assessment, there should be 2 days left. He did not expect it to end early. Let's go back first. Chu Fengmian crushed the jade talisman. Suddenly, his body flickered. His body was directly brought to the sky by the power of the jade talisman. In the sky, the ancient bronze door had appeared again and was slowly opening. At a glance, it was enough to see many lights flying over with the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's disciples. However, the number was less than what Chu Fengmian had imagined. There were probably less than 1,000 people. There should have been more than 10,000 disciples who came to the Nether Ghost region to participate in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's assessment, but now, there were less than 1,000 people left. Moreover, it was not only the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension. Chu Fengmian observed that the Avalon of 5 Elements, Qi Linshan, and other forces had also ended their assessment early. Moreover, they had lost a lot of disciples. A large number of disciples had died in the Nether Ghost region. Looks like the young emperor was enraged and massacred the disciples of the 4 major forces. That's why the 4 major forces ended the test early. Otherwise, in 2 more days, I'm afraid no one would be alive in the Nether Ghost realm. The young emperor was plotted against by Chu Fengmian this time. His anger was enough to burn the heavens and the earth. The disciples of the 4 major forces became his first target. Under the wanton massacre, the 4 major forces had no choice but to end their assessment early. Even the 4 major forces did not want to provoke the angry young emperor. This time, Emerald Sky Emperor Gu, Gold Peak Emperor Gu, and others had gone against the young emperor because of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. There was no benefit in fighting the young emperor now. The 4 major forces would not choose to do so. Master. Chu Fengmian had just returned to the edge of the bronze door when he heard a female voice. Chu Fengmian turned his head and saw Luya. It seemed that she had also survived safely. Luya had not been involved in the Temple of Bones. She had only been hunting demons. Now that she had felt the call of the Jade Talisman, she had also returned. The Jade Talisman's call was the last chance to leave the Nether Ghost region. Otherwise, unless one had stepped into the realm of Emperor Gu and could cross the starry sky physically, one could only stay in the Nether Ghost region. Regardless of whether one was a warrior or a demon immortal, staying in the Nether Ghost region was akin to committing suicide. No one was willing to do so. Master is very brave. It is said that even the Blood Prince died in your hands. I didn't expect you to hide your strength so well. Luya walked over and smiled at Chu Fengmian. There was even a flash of surprise in her eyes. Many disciples of the 4 major forces had witnessed Chu Fengmian killing the Blood Prince in public. This matter had already spread throughout the Nether Ghost region. Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain looked at Chu Fengmian with awe, respect, and of course, jealousy. However, no one dared to cause trouble for Chu Fengmian. After all, Chu Fengmian had killed the Blood Prince. Chapter 1293. Seeing this reaction, Luya was astonished. When Chu Fengmian was in the ancient Fey continent, he looked down on everyone and defeated almost all the geniuses. She did not expect that in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, Chu Fengmian had established a supreme prestige in just a few days. No one dared to provoke Chu Fengmian anymore. Even the title of Newcomer King, Young Master Mu, was about to land on Chu Fengmian's head. However, Chu Fengmian did not care about Newcomer King. If he wanted to dominate, he wanted to dominate the entire Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. What was a mere batch of newcomers to him? Luya looked at Chu Fengmian and carefully sized him up. She realized that she could not see through Chu Fengmian anymore. The strength that Chu Fengmian had displayed before her was already extremely terrifying. However, Chu Fengmian had killed young Master Shui. This proved that Chu Fengmian's strength was even more terrifying than what he had displayed. I just have some trump cards. Chu Fengmian casually replied after hearing Luya's words. Seeing that Chu Fengmian was unwilling to answer, Luya did not pursue the matter. She only smiled and stood quietly beside Chu Fengmian. Seeing this scene, the eyes of many disciples of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were filled with jealousy. Although they did not know Luya's identity, according to the rumors, Luya was related to the ancient emperor of the Wind Empress. The Fengho ancient emperor had only become an ancient emperor 100 years ago. However, with her current strength, she was already a supreme elder of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. Peerless talent was enough to describe Emperor Gu. It was even rumored that Emperor Gu was one of the most promising experts in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm to step into the Heavenly Realm. Even many ancient emperors wanted to get close to the ancient emperor of Wind Empress. Looking at Chu Fengmian and Luya, it was clear that they were on good terms. In that case, Chu Fengmian might even be able to cozy up to the ancient emperor of Wind Empress. At that time, who would dare to provoke Chu Fengmian in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm? Humph! A group of cultivators stood to the side. The one in their hearts was young Master Mu. Back in the Temple of Bones, young Master Mu was the fastest to escape. Even when Chu Fengmian wanted to kill young Master Mu, he couldn't find him. Now that young Master Mu saw the relationship between Chu Fengmian and Luya, his eyes were filled with jealousy, especially when he looked at Chu Fengmian. He wanted to kill Chu Fengmian. If it wasn't for Chu Fengmian, young Master Mu would definitely be this year's newcomer king. It could be said that when young Master Mu came to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, he was highly anticipated. Even many elders had to give him some face, giving him limitless glory. However, ever since he had met Chu Fengmian, he had completely lost everything. Now that Chu Fengmian had killed the Bloody Prince and made a name for himself, many disciples of the Emperor Mu Association were worried that Chu Fengmian would seek revenge and left one by one. Young Master Mu, there's no need to worry. This kid is merely a vile character who has gained power. Do you think he'll be able to contend against the Mu family in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension? A few martialists standing beside young Master Mu whispered. Moreover, this woman hasn't given herself to this kid yet. When we reach the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and young Master Mu shows off, this woman will definitely come to her senses. Hearing this, young Master Mu's expression became slightly better. Suddenly, his eyes flickered as he looked at Chu Fengmian. That's right. It's time to take down this kid's spirit. So what if Chu Fengmian's performance was shocking? Once they reached the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension, he would have the Mu family as his backing. Would he be afraid of Chu Fengmian? Rumble. While the crowd was discussing, a figure appeared from the bronze door. Following that, an enormous amount of heaven and earth power descended together with this figure. Chu Fengmian sensed the aura and naturally knew that the person who had arrived was another Emperor Gu. This time, it was an old man who looked a little sleepy. It was as if this old man didn't care about anything. Even if Mount Tai collapsed before him, his expression wouldn't change. It's Songzhu Emperor Gu. This is one of the old Emperor Gu of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension. Many of the Sacred Dragon Secret Plane's disciples had already recognized the old man. Many of the Emperor Gu in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension were famous super geniuses in their respective continents when they were young. For example, this Songzhu Emperor Gu was in existence that intimidated countless continents when he was young. Later on, Songzhu Emperor Gu joined the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and kept a low profile. However, his legends were still circulating in various continents. Being in such close proximity to Emperor Gu was enough to make many disciples gasp for breath, even though Songzhu Emperor Gu didn't show much of his aura. However, Chu Fengmian didn't feel anything. He had already endured the wrath of a young emperor. This little bit of aura was nothing to him. Moreover, the young emperor was much stronger than this Songzhu Emperor Gu. Oh? Songzhu Emperor Gu appeared and glanced at Chu Fengmian with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Only a four-tribulation true emperor would be able to remain unaffected by his aura. Chu Fengmian was only at the immortal realm and was able to do so. This was enough to prove his strength. Not bad, a good seedling. Songzhu Emperor Gu looked at Chu Fengmian and praised softly. Young Master Mu's expression became even more ferocious after hearing the praise. If Chu Fengmian wasn't here, he would be the most dazzling person in this generation of newcomers. It could be said that young Master Mu was the most dazzling person unless he was placed in a particularly dazzling group. But now, Chu Fengmian's brilliance had completely shrouded him. He couldn't raise his head at all. Thank you, Emperor Gu. Chu Fengmian looked at Songzhu Emperor Gu and cupped his fists. Okay. Songzhu Emperor Gu said and shifted his gaze away from Chu Fengmian. He only appreciated Chu Fengmian's talent and didn't want to take him as a disciple. Just a praise was enough. This time, the examination will end early. However, the rules remain the same. All disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain must pass through the Bronze Door and return to the Secret Domain. Everyone will pass the examination. The ranking will be determined according to the number of devil bones obtained. Songzhu Emperor Gu glanced at the crowd and slowly said. The more devil bones you obtain, the more likely you will be favored by the 8 halls and even the 4 sections. The 4 sects will send people to participate in this examination, so do well. After the ancient Pine Bamboo Emperor finished speaking, he turned around and sent a surge of spiritual energy into the copper door. Open! Chapter 1294. I'm finally back. Chu Fengmian stepped through the bronze door and felt the world spinning around him. His figure returned to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Feeling the rich spiritual energy around him, Chu Fengmian felt much more relaxed. In the Nether Ghost region, a place filled with demonic aura, Chu Fengmian had to be tense at all times. After returning to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, he could finally relax a little and his fatigue was relieved. Moreover, in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, Chu Fengmian did not need to worry about the young emperor. No matter how strong the young emperor was, he would not rush into the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm to kill Chu Fengmian. After all, there were many strong people in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Even if the young emperor came personally, he might not be able to escape unscathed. Master, I have to leave first. I'm now a disciple of the Five Spirits sect. If you need any help, you can come to the Five Spirits sect to find me. Luya said to Chu Fengmian after returning to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Okay. Hearing Luya's words, Chu Fengmian was not surprised. Luya was taken away by Emperor Gu personally. Naturally, she had already joined the Five Spirits sect. She should be here to train herself by participating in the trial. The Five Spirits sect was ranked 3rd among the 4 sections. The 4 sects were the Holy Dragon sect, the Holy Academy sect, the Five Spirits sect, and the 6 Ultimate sect. The ranking of the 4 sects had been fixed since ancient times. Although the Holy Academy sect was the top sect in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, the Holy Dragon sect was still the most respected sect in terms of status. Five Spirits sect. Many disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were envious when they heard Luya's words. Many seniors did not have the opportunity to join the 4 sects, let alone Luya who was a newcomer. Once she joined the Five Spirits sect, she would definitely be nurtured with resources. At that time, Luya would definitely pull far ahead of them and widen the gap. Lucky kid. Many disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm looked at Chu Fengmian and said. It was extremely rare for a newcomer to join the Force sects in each batch of newcomers. Although Chu Fengmian had already displayed incomparably monstrous strength, it was still not certain that he would be able to join the Force sections. It was said that Luya had a very close relationship with Emperor Gu. In the future, it was even possible for Luya to become a high-ranking member of the Five Spirits sect. If he could build a good relationship with her now, it would definitely be a good thing. Go. He looked at Luya and said casually. Take care, young master. Luya took a deep look at Chu Fengmian and slowly left. She turned into a ray of light and returned to the Five Spirits sect. By this time, almost all of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain disciples had returned from the Nether Ghost region. The ancient bronze door slowly closed. Emperor Gu of Songzhou was the last to walk out of the ancient bronze door. He looked at the warriors present and said. This time, all the warriors and demon gods who survived the Nether Ghost region have passed the assessment and become disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain. Now, all of you have become official disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain. However, before we distribute the rewards, we still need to evaluate you. Everyone, step forward and hand over the demon bones. All the demon bones will be exchanged for contribution points of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain. We will not take advantage of you. First. Emperor Gu of Songzhou pointed to a young warrior who was standing in the front row. The young warrior's strength was considered to be above average among the remaining disciples. He took a step forward and took out an empty ring. When he opened it, there were about 200 demon bones. Emperor Gu of Songzhou took a glance and waved his hand, taking away all the demon bones. A total of 350 points, which will be exchanged for 35 contribution points. With that, Emperor Gu of Songzhou took out a jade talisman and handed it to the young warrior. On the jade talisman, one could faintly see the number 35. All the demon bones could be exchanged for different points according to their grade. For example, the demon bones of an ordinary quasi-emperor were equivalent to 1 point. As for peak quasi-emperors, or even some of the more powerful demons, one demonic bone was equivalent to 2 or 3 points. The Sacred Dragon Secret Domain had existed for hundreds of thousands of years. It was familiar with the assessment of points and was incomparably fair. There was no dissatisfaction on the young man's face. Instead, there was a hint of joy. Generally, the price given for purchasing demon bones in the assessment would be 20 to 30% higher than the normal price. This was to prevent the warriors and demon gods from secretly keeping demon bones and causing the assessment to be unfair. In addition to the jade talisman, Emperor Gu of Songzhou also took out a jade bottle and handed it over. In the jade bottle, there was a green dragon eye elixir. Jade Dragon Saint Elixir. Before the assessment, the rewards were announced. All the disciples who passed the assessment were qualified to receive a Jade Dragon Saint Elixir. The young man took both the jade talisman and jade bottle and hurriedly left. At the same time, his name appeared on a water mirror at the side. It recorded his name and the points he obtained. Next. One by one, the martial artists and demon immortals who were called upon naturally stepped forward and handed over their demon bones. Everyone's ranking was displayed on the water mirror. This ranking was related to the disciple recruitment ceremony of the 4 sects and 8 halls. After the assessment results were out, it would be the time for the disciple recruitment ceremony of the 4 sects and 8 halls. At that time, people from the 4 sects and 8 halls would come to select the disciples according to the order of the 4 sects and 8 halls. Next. Emperor Gu of Songzhou still looked extremely tired. He looked a little drowsy and could fall asleep at any time. However, his speed was extremely fast. When a cultivator took out a devil bone, he was able to calculate its value in an instant. Another disciple was called out and stepped forward. This person was a demon immortal and he seemed to have the aura of a bull around him. It's Niu Shi. When some of the sacred dragon's secret dimension disciples saw this person step forward, their eyes were filled with anticipation. I wonder how many demon bones Nyoshi has obtained. Originally, Nyoshi was not considered outstanding among this batch of newcomers. However, in the Nether Ghost domain, this person's performance was outstanding and he became one of the top newcomers in this batch. If there were a few people in this batch of newcomers who had a chance to join the four sects, he was one of them. Nyoshi took a step forward and opened the empty ring. Crash! Countless demon bones fell out of the empty ring and piled up into a small hill. At a glance, there were more than 10,000 demon bones. Chapter 1295. That's a lot. Cries of surprise could be heard from the crowd. The demonic bones were piled up into a small hill. There were at least 10,000 of them. Ordinary martial artists and fey gods would be ranked high if they could obtain hundreds of demonic bones. There were 10,000 of them. Even Emperor Gu of Songzhou raised his eyes slightly and said softly, "Yes." Although it was not a compliment, it was enough to be an acknowledgement from Emperor Gu of Songzhou. Oxy's face lit up when he heard the evaluation. The count took about a minute. Then, Emperor Gu of Songzhou waved his hand and collected all the demonic bones. 12,000 points. That's a total of 1,200 contribution points. 1,200 contribution points. If they were exchanged for Jade Dragon pills, that would be 1,200 pills. It was definitely a huge fortune. Especially for a newcomer, this was already a very good ranking. Oxy should be in the top 3 this time. Many warriors were talking about it. At the same time, they looked at the two figures standing at the side like fire and water. Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu. This time, the top 2 spots should be locked onto the 2 of them. It was just that they didn't know which of the 2 of them had more people. There should have been no doubt that young Master Mu would take first place. After all, young Master Mu's strength was the top of this batch of newcomers. He also had a strong background. He had established the Emperor Mu Association long ago and had countless martial artists and fey gods work for him. However, Chu Fengmian had killed Prince Shui and was famous for his strength. He did have a chance to compete with young Master Mu. However, most people in the crowd still thought that young Master Mu had a better chance of taking first place this time. In terms of strength, Chu Fengmian did have the advantage. There was no doubt about that. However, 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Chu Fengmian was alone, while young Master Mu had the entire Emperor Mu Association and the influence of the Mu family behind him. Even now, many martial artists and fey gods had joined the Emperor Mu Association to work for young Master Mu. Hearing the discussion, young Master Mu's face turned even uglier. He looked at Chu Fengmian and suddenly walked over. Seeing this scene, everyone present hurriedly stopped their discussions. A mountain could not accommodate 2 tigers. In every batch of newcomers, there must be a newcomer king. Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu would fight sooner or later. Everyone had to fight for first place. Young Master Mu stared at Chu Fengmian and said coldly, "Chu Fengmian, do you dare to bet with me?" "Bet? What bet? Why? Do you want to fight me? I'll be waiting." When Chu Fengmian heard young Master Mu's words, he didn't even lift his eyelids. Young Master Mu was taken aback by Chu Fengmian's words. He originally wanted to provoke Chu Fengmian, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengmian would ask to meet him in the life and death arena. Young Master Mu was not as strong as young Master Shui. Although he did not see how Chu Fengmian killed young Master Shui with his own eyes, he had already escaped. However, since Chu Fengmian had the strength to kill young Master Shui, he was still not someone he could fight against. However, young Master Mu was not an impulsive person. He knew that Chu Fengmian was mocking him. A bet doesn't have to be a battle of life and death. Let's bet on who will be first place this time. Young Master Mu's eyes flickered as he suddenly spoke. Let's bet 10,000 contribution points. I have 10,000 Jade Dragon pills here. Young Master Mu's palm moved, and a Qianquan gourd appeared in his hand. There were 10,000 jade dragon pills in it. 10,000 jade dragon pills were 10,000 contribution points. She only got 1,200 contribution points after painstakingly killing the 10,000 demons. For a newcomer, this was an astronomical amount of wealth. This is the strength of the Mu family. The disciples of the Mu family are indeed rich. Many people looked at young Master Mu with a slight change of expression. Indeed, young Master Mu looked like he was being suppressed by Chu Fengmian. However, young Master Mu came from the Mu clan, a colossal existence. In the Holy Dragon Mystic realm, the Mu clan possessed enormous influence. The current young Master Mu was only a newcomer. Yet, he was able to easily take out 10,000 Jade Dragon Great Pellets. This was sufficient to prove that his background was powerful. When young Master Mu made his move, everyone's gaze fell on Chu Fengmian. 10,000 contribution points was enough to be called a huge bet. Moreover, the bet was to be first place in this assessment. Since young Master Mu dared to make the bet, he naturally had absolute confidence. However, they did not know if Chu Fengmian would dare to accept it. Chu Fengmian did not have young Master Mu's family fortune. If he lost, he would probably go bankrupt. I'm not betting. Chu Fengmian glanced at young Master Mu and said casually. Many people were stunned by Chu Fengmian's straightforward rejection. They did not expect Chu Fengmian to be so straightforward. However, they did not find it surprising when they looked at Chu Fengmian. Indeed, if it was a bet, Chu Fengmian would definitely accept it. However, if it was a bet for first place, everyone was optimistic about young Master Mu. If young Master Mu took the initiative to make the move, he would definitely have the confidence to win. Now that Chu Fengmian had taken a step back, it was normal for him to not make the bet. Oh? Why? You don't dare to make the bet? Young Master Mu sneered when he saw Chu Fengmian take a step back. His eyes flashed with amusement. Indeed, he could not defeat Chu Fengmian, but he could still take down Chu Fengmian's prestige. Now that Chu Fengmian had taken the initiative to take a step back, of course he would follow up with another attack. It's fine if you can't take out 10,000 contribution points. When the time comes, if you lose, kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times. I don't want your 10,000 contribution points. How about that? Young Master Mu's words were mocking Chu Fengmian. Apart from young Master Mu and a few others, no one in this batch of newcomers could take out 10,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian was born in the ancient Fei continent, which was only a 7th grade continent. Of course, he would not have much wealth. Or are you saying that you know that you will lose? Is that why you don't dare to make the bet? Young Master Mu turned his gaze and looked at Chu Fengmian. He had been suppressed by Chu Fengmian for too long. This time, he was finally going to make a comeback. Chu Fengmian's refusal to accept the bet was akin to him losing the limelight. If Chu Fengmian accepted the bet this time, young Master Mu would have a chance of winning. When the time came, he would make Chu Fengmian go bankrupt and even lose face. Chapter 1296. Hearing young Master Mu's words, everyone could see that young Master Mu had set up a conspiracy from the very beginning. No, it was an open conspiracy. Chu Fengmian could neither advance nor retreat. No matter what he did, he would be at a disadvantage. If Chu Fengmian retreated, it would be fine as it would only reduce his momentum. However, if Chu Fengmian really bet with young Master Mu, he would fall into young Master Mu's trap. 10,000 contribution points was enough to bankrupt Chu Fengmian. Young Master Mu was able to set up such an open conspiracy because he was certain of victory. Therefore, no matter what Chu Fengmian chose, he had no hope of winning. Young Master Mu is still young Master Mu. Some martial artists looked at young Master Mu with adoration in their eyes. After all, he was a member of the Mu family. He killed people with his heart. A warrior needed an indomitable heart. If Chu Fengmian was forced to retreat today, it might even affect Chu Fengmian's Dao heart in the future. At that time, it would affect Chu Fengmian's future cultivation. You don't dare to bet? It's just that the stakes are too small. If you want to bet, go big. Chu Fengmian suddenly said after hearing young Master Mu's words. As soon as his voice fell, many martial artists looked at Chu Fengmian with pity in their eyes. Oh no! A few of Chu Fengmian's supporters couldn't help but shake their heads and curse secretly. After all, Chu Fengmian was a newcomer and a junior. He was too young and not mature enough. If he bet with young Master Mu at this time, he would be courting death. Now, Chu Fengmian was provoked by young Master Mu and couldn't help but accept the bet. As for the stakes of Chu Fengmian's words were too small, in the eyes of everyone, it was just a bold statement made by Chu Fengmian to save face. The stakes are too small? Young Master Mu was overjoyed when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. His original goal was to suppress Chu Fengmian's momentum and affect Chu Fengmian's Dao heart. That was his real goal. However, Chu Fengmian actually said such words. He was simply giving him an opportunity and forcing Chu Fengmian into a dead end. Of course, young Master Mu wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Chu Fengmian had already said something like that. If he backed off now, it would be too embarrassing. That's some big talk. Since you're not interested in a mere 10,000 contribution points, how much do you want to bet? I'll bet as much as you want. How about that? Young Master Mu seized the opportunity and laughed. His words forced Chu Fengmian into a dead end. Now, even if Chu Fengmian didn't want to gamble, there was no other reason. Since they had already shed all pretenses of cordiality, it would be best to deal as much of a blow to Chu Fengmian as possible. It would be best if Chu Fengmian's reputation was completely ruined in the Holy Dragon's secret realm, so much so that he would no longer be able to survive. Since you want to bet, let's bet big. 10,000 contribution points isn't even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Forget it, since you don't have much wealth, let's make it 10 times the amount and bet 100,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu and suddenly said. The moment he opened his mouth, he offered 10 times the amount, a total of 100,000 contribution points. 100,000. Hearing this number, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. 100,000 contribution points was equivalent to 100,000 Jade Dragon Great Elixirs, or 1,000 Jade Dragon Saint Elixirs. Not to mention an ordinary disciple, even an inner disciple couldn't take out such wealth. Even among the true disciples, there weren't many who could take out 100,000 contribution points in one go. 100,000 contribution points? Even young Master Mu's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Chu Fengmian to offer 100,000 contribution points. However, young Master Mu glanced at Chu Fengmian and revealed a cold smile. He was just a fox assuming the majesty of the tiger. Was he trying to scare him away? Even young Master Mu would go bankrupt if he took out 100,000 contribution points. He didn't believe that Chu Fengmian would take out 100,000 contribution points. How could a martial artist from a 7th grade continent have so much wealth? 100,000 contribution points. I'll gamble. Young Master Mu sneered and looked at Chu Fengmian. But if you want to gamble, you have to take out 100,000 contribution points first. Otherwise, it won't be that easy to gain something without risking anything. If you can take out 100,000 contribution points, I'll gamble with you. If you can't take it out, then apologize to me obediently. Don't pretend to be a tiger. As soon as young Master Mu's voice fell, everyone present looked at each other. Take out 100,000 contribution points? This number was a heavenly number for them. No, 10,000 contribution points was a heavenly number for them. Not to mention, it was easier said than done to get Chu Fengmian to take out 10 times the amount. He's too reckless. He thinks he's smart. Many people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengmian and shook their heads. They might believe that Chu Fengmian could take out 10,000 contribution points, but they didn't believe that he could take out 100,000 contribution points. In their opinion, Chu Fengmian proposed 100,000 contribution points bet to fool young Master Mu. He wanted to force young Master Mu to retreat, but now he had forced himself into a dead end. Now that Chu Fengmian couldn't take it out, there was no need to bet. Chu Fengmian's reputation would be ruined. It's only 100,000 contribution points. How can I not take it out? Chu Fengmian heard young Master Mu's words and laughed. Suddenly, 10 Qianquan gourds appeared in front of him. Seeing this scene, everyone looked at each other. Could Chu Fengmian really take it out? Was he not bluffing? Even young Master Mu's expression began to change. This seemed to be different from what he had imagined. Bang! The 10 Qianquan gourds opened at the same time, and a strong medicinal fragrance wafted out. Inside the 10 Qianquan gourds were a total of 100,000 5-elemental pills. These? What kind of pills are these? They don't seem to be the 5-elemental pills of our holy dragon mystery dimension. A warrior noticed that the pills inside the Qianquan gourds were different from the jade dragon pill that young Master Mu had just shown. These are 5-elemental pills, the pills of the Avalon of 5 elements. In terms of value, they are on par with the divine dragon pill. Some of the more experienced and knowledgeable martial artists spoke slowly. How can this person have so many pills of the Avalon of 5 elements? Avalon of 5 elements? Suddenly, everyone thought of the same thing. Young Master Shui. Only young Master Shui could have such amazing wealth. Chu Fengmian had killed young Master Shui, so he must have taken all of young Master Shui's wealth. No wonder this person is so arrogant. He really does have amazing wealth. Chapter 1297. 10 Qianquan gourds were placed in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu with a smile on his face. 100,000 5-elemental pills should be worth 100,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian could tell what young Master Mu was thinking. However, he had to make a big bet today. Chu Fengmian didn't care about 10,000 contribution points. Only 100,000 contribution points would be useful to him. It's your turn. If you can't take out 100,000 contribution points, get lost. I don't bet with a pauper. Chu Fengmian sneered as he looked at young Master Mu with a faint smile. Pauper. The crowd felt their vision go dark when they heard this. If Chu Fengmian called young Master Mu a pauper, what would they be? They might not even be able to take out 1,000 contribution points, let alone 10,000. However, Chu Fengmian had taken out 100,000 5-elemental pills in broad daylight. He was indeed qualified to do so. You! At this moment, young Master Mu's face was alternating between green and white. He didn't expect Chu Fengmian to take out 100,000 contribution points. At this moment, he was the one who was embarrassed. If he took out 100,000 contribution points, he would probably go bankrupt. He definitely didn't have that many pills. If young Master Mu couldn't take out 100,000 contribution points, he would become a laughingstock. He would be the one who would lose face. After all, he was the one who initiated the bet. Moreover, he agreed to Chu Fengmian's offer of 100,000 contribution points. Young Master Mu's face turned gloomy when he saw that many people in the crowd were waiting to see him make a fool of himself. 100,000 it is. I can take it out. As young Master Mu spoke, he took out another 4 Qianquan gourds. Inside each Qianquan gourd were 10,000 jade dragon pills. There were 50,000 jade dragon pills in total, which were worth 50,000 contribution points. This wealth was extremely shocking, but the crowd wasn't shocked. After all, they had just seen Chu Fengmian take out 100,000 5-elemental pills. Young Master Mu's 50,000 jade dragon pills weren't too surprising. It's not enough. Chu Fengmian glanced at young Master Mu and said indifferently. If you can't take it out, then forget it. Don't force yourself. I won't hold it against you, and I don't need your apology. Although Chu Fengmian's words weren't unpleasant, in reality, every word was a slap to young Master Mu's face. This Chu Fengmian is indeed not the type to compromise. Since young Master Mu wants to slap him in the face, he will slap him even harder. Some warriors also saw that Chu Fengmian had pretended to be weak in order to make young Master Mu raise the stakes. Now, young Master Mu was the one who was put on the spot. He was a vengeful person. Such a person was the most terrifying existence, especially with all the background. Chu Fengmian was not afraid. The Blood Noble had the support of the Blood God Emperor Gu. Now, Chu Fengmian could kill him just like that. As for the Mu family behind young Master Mu, Chu Fengmian was of course not afraid. What a ruthless character. Emperor Gu of Songzhou raised his head and looked at Chu Fengmian with interest. There's a character in this batch of newcomers. Countless gazes were fixed on young Master Mu. At this time, young Master Mu had been forced into a dead end. If young Master Mu still couldn't come up with enough wealth, he would become a laughingstock. I don't have enough elixirs for the remaining 50,000 contribution points. I can use my spiritual weapons as collateral. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengmian and suddenly opened his spatial ring. A pair of sabers and swords appeared. This pair of sabers and swords were both sky-grade spiritual weapons. One saber and one sword formed the set. They were the spiritual weapons that young Master Mu intended to use against his enemies. It's not enough. This pair of sabers and swords is definitely not enough. Seeing that young Master Mu had taken out his spiritual weapons, the crowd could see that young Master Mu was really desperate. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken out the spiritual weapons that he intended to use against his enemies. However, this was still not enough. The 50,000 contribution points were not enough to pay for the saber and sword. These two ordinary spiritual weapons are worth at most 15,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian glanced at the pair of sabers and swords and said casually. With his experience, he could naturally see the value of these weapons at a glance. Add on my throne. Young Master Mu snorted coldly and took out another throne. It was the same throne that he usually sat on. It represented young Master Mu's supreme authority. It's so ordinary and ugly. It's only worth 5,000 contribution points. It'll be 20,000 contribution points in total. You still need 30,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian glanced at it again and curled his lips. It's fine if you can't take it out. Otherwise, you'll lose all your trump cards later. Who says I can't take it out? The current young Master Mu was like a completely enraged lion. He had been suppressed in every way since he met Chu Fengmian. This time, he finally got an opportunity to extinguish Chu Fengmian's arrogance. He wanted to put Chu Fengmian on the spot, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengmian would turn the tables and become the host. The one who was put on the spot was him. If he couldn't take it out this time, he would become a joke that would spread throughout the entire Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension tomorrow. I'll add on this. A hint of hesitation flashed across young Master Mu's eyes. However, when he saw the crowd's gaze, a hint of ruthlessness flashed across his eyes. He took out a bronze token from his spatial ring. This bronze token didn't look like a spiritual weapon, but it contained an extremely unique spiritual energy. It faintly contained the origin energy of heaven and earth. What is this thing? It doesn't look like a spiritual weapon. How can it contain the origin energy of heaven and earth? The crowd looked at the bronze token in confusion. Primogenitor statue comprehension token? The faces of some cultivators who were more knowledgeable suddenly changed. Young Master Mu actually has such a thing? Primogenitor statue comprehension token? Chu Fengmian suddenly understood what this bronze token was. Inside the sacred dragon mystical ground, there were countless ancient ruins left behind by experts. It was enough for one to comprehend various martial skills and secret techniques. Of course, among all the ancient ruins, the most valuable one was the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue, the statue of primogenitor Jianwang. This primogenitor statue comprehension token could be used to exchange for a chance to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue. In order to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue, one not only needed contribution points, but also needed to perform a great service for the sacred dragon mystery domain in order to be qualified to exchange for it. This primogenitor statue comprehension token was worth at least 50,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian was overjoyed when he saw the primogenitor statue comprehension token. He needed the chance to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue. When Chu Fengmian first stepped into the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, he could feel the attraction of the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue from afar. Therefore, Chu Fengmian had been looking for an opportunity. He didn't expect young Master Mu to deliver the primogenitor statue comprehension token to him. Not bad, it's good stuff. I'll give you 50,000 for this. As for those lousy spiritual weapons, you should keep them for yourself. Chapter 1298. Although Chu Fengmian was overjoyed, his expression remained calm as he spoke. Hearing this, young Master Mu almost vomited blood. These were the spiritual weapons that he had used to fight his enemies, but Chu Fengmian had called them lousy spiritual weapons. Kid, you don't have to be so smug. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengmian with a sneer. Although he did not expect Chu Fengmian to turn the situation around, he was not afraid even if he had to bet. He was confident that he would win. Otherwise, he would not have taken the initiative to bet with Chu Fengmian. This bet needs a witness. Songzhu Emperor Gu, may I trouble you? Chu Fengmian suddenly said to Songzhu Emperor Gu. This time, young Master Mu had put all his trump cards on the bet. Chu Fengmian was worried that young Master Mu would go back on his word. Sure. Songzhu Emperor Gu only nodded calmly when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Although he had seen everything, he had no intention of stopping it. The Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension did not forbid disciples from fighting. It should be said that a force like the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm would encourage competition between their disciples. In order to become an expert of a generation, who would not have to go through countless battles? In the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, strength was everything. Only the stronger cultivators were qualified to obtain more resources. Such fights were commonplace. As long as no lives were lost, no one would care. Chu Fengmian was relieved when he saw that Songzhu Emperor Gu had agreed. Even if young Master Mu was arrogant, he would not dare to go back on his word in front of Emperor Gu. Say it. Do you want to go first, or should I? Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu and said casually. His tone was extremely confident, as if victory was already in his grasp. This made young Master Mu frown. Chu Fengmian's behavior was too confident. It made him a little worried about whether this big bet was the right one. However, now that things had come to this, he could not back down. There was no way out. I'll go first. Young Master Mu snorted coldly. He simply took a step forward and walked up to Songzhu Emperor Gu and opened the empty ring. Voila! The moment the empty ring was opened, countless demonic bones gushed out and filled the entire empty ring. Large and small demonic bones piled up like a mountain. Compared to the ox rhino's devil bone, it was tens of times, or even hundreds of times more. Just how many demon bones are there? Everyone looked at the mountain of demonic bones and was dumbfounded. Hundreds of thousands? Millions? Although they had already guessed that young Master Mu would have a lot of demon bones, they were still shocked when they saw the mountain-like pile of demon bones in front of them. When young Master Mu saw the gazes of the crowd and their exclamations, he revealed a smug expression. It was finally time for him to hold his head up high. Emperor Gu of Songzhu, please appraise the points. Young Master Mu looked at Emperor Gu of Songzhu and said. On the other hand, Emperor Gu of Songzhu released his spiritual awareness to carefully analyze the bones. It took him a full 5 minutes to calculate the total value of the bones. 1,370,000 points, which is equivalent to 103,700 contribution points. Emperor Gu of Songzhu said calmly. After all, with his status, he had seen countless tests, so he was not surprised at all. However, when they heard the number 1,370,000, they were stunned. More than 1 million contribution points. The highest score of the previous person, Ox Rhino, was only 12,000 contribution points. This was 100 times more than Ox Rhino's. Young Master Mu actually has so many demon bones. No wonder young Master Mu is so confident. 1,370,000 points. No matter how strong Chu Fengmian is, it's impossible for him to obtain so many demon bones. It's over. Looks like Chu Fengmian is too proud. He's going to fail miserably. If there had been any suspense before, then young Master Mu's won. 37 million points seemed to have put an end to all the suspense. Kid, it's your turn. Young Master Mu took the jade talisman and jade bottle that belonged to him. He walked to the side and looked at Chu Fengmian provocatively. Oh? Only this much? I was wondering how many demon bones you have. That's why you dared to provoke me. In the end, only this much? Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu's provocation and said with a smile. Well, it seems that I shouldn't have had any expectations for you. Humph, don't talk big here. You're about to die, and you're still so stubborn? Young Master Mu said disapprovingly. He certainly didn't believe that Chu Fengmian had more demon bones than him. In his opinion, Chu Fengmian's words were just a stubborn lie. Usually, a newcomer with 500,000 to 600,000 points would be ranked first. As for those with more than 1 million points, it was rare to see one in 10 years. Although there were once incomparably monstrous figures who obtained millions or even tens of millions of points, it was at least 100 years ago. It didn't belong to this era. Moreover, this time, the test in the Nether Ghost Realm was only 5 days, not 7. It was even more difficult to surpass this number. Impossible. Chu Fengmian shouldn't have more demon bones than young Master Mu. It seems that he's still unwilling to admit defeat. After all, it's 100,000 contribution points. No one wants to lose. Countless discussions sounded, and countless people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengmian. A few disciples of Monarch Mu's association even mocked him. Hurry up, don't waste time. Waste time? I just want to let you be proud for a while. In that case, I'll show you. Chu Fengmian's lips curled up slightly. He took out an empty ring, injected a surge of spiritual power, and opened it. Look, what's the meaning of looking at the sky from the bottom of a well? It's only 1 million points, not even a fraction of mine. Boom! The moment the empty ring was opened, countless demonic bones gushed out. The number was no less than young Master Mu's. So many! No, there's more? Furthermore, as time passed, the number of demonic bones continued to increase. At this point, they were even more numerous than the demonic bones that young Master Mu had just taken out. This is impossible. This is impossible. Young Master Mu's expression changed drastically. He stood up abruptly and looked at Chu Fengmian with a pale face. Chu Fengmian had more demon bones than him, and this was far from the end. Under everyone's gaze, more and more demon bones flew out from the empty ring. Chu Fengmian had obtained all of young Master Shue's demon bones, and they piled up to fill an empty ring. 1 building, 2 buildings, 3 buildings. A mountain peak couldn't be piled up. On the square, countless demon bones piled up into mountains. Chapter 1299. There's more? Chu Fengmian was not done with the first, second, and third mountain peaks. More and more demon bones flew out of Chu Fengmian's empty ring. The amount of demon bones in the empty ring seemed to be endless. Every single mountain peak was no smaller than the mountain peak that young Master Mu had taken out earlier. This was not just a little more than young Master Mu, but several times more. Looking at the countless demon bones, many warriors swallowed their saliva. How many demon bones were there? One should know that demon bones could be exchanged for contribution points in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain. With so many demon bones, if they were all exchanged for contribution points, it would be an astronomical figure. After waiting for a few minutes, Chu Fengmian slowly raised his head. It's about time. Chu Fengmian muttered to himself, and the empty ring closed. There were a total of 10 mountain peaks piled up with demon bones, and each mountain peak was no smaller than the one that young Master Mu had taken out. Songzhu Emperor Gu, please. Chu Fengmian looked at Songzhu Emperor Gu and said. The expression in ancient Emperor Songzhu's eyes began to change as the devil bone appeared. There was some surprise in his eyes as he looked at Chu Fengmian. He had presided over countless assessments, but this was the first time he had seen such a large number of demon bones. Songzhu Emperor Gu did not say anything, and he quietly counted the demon bones. There was no one in the crowd, and no one was talking. Everyone's eyes were on Songzhu Emperor Gu. There were so many demonic bones that they couldn't even calculate how many there were. After a long time. This time, it took a full hour to do the counting. Songzhu Emperor Gu slowly raised his head. He waved his hand, and Chu Fengmian's name appeared on the water mirror. Without exception, this name was at the top of the list. As for the number behind it, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, 10,000,000? Everyone was stunned when they saw the number behind Chu Fengmian's name. 13 million. It wasn't until a cultivator shouted out in shock that the silence was broken. 13 million points. This number was 10 times higher than young Master Mu's. No, that's impossible. How could there be so many? How is that possible? Young Master Mu's expression changed drastically as he roared madly. Cheating. You must have cheated. You can't kill so many demons by yourself. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengmian and roared madly. After all, he had the Monarch Mu Association behind him. All the disciples of the association were working for him, hunting the demon tribe for him, which was why he was able to accumulate over 1,000,000 points. But this time, Chu Fengmian surpassed him by a whole 10 times. Even in his dreams, he could never have imagined such a possibility. How dare you? Hearing young Master Mu's question, Emperor Gu of Songzhu was displeased and shouted coldly. This time, Emperor Gu of Songzhu was in charge of the assessment. Now that young Master Mu said that Chu Fengmian had cheated, wasn't he doubting him? After being reprimanded by Emperor Gu of Songzhu, young Master Mu quickly came to his senses. He was a little angry just now. He didn't dare to doubt an Emperor Gu. Even the Mu family didn't dare to provoke an Emperor Gu. Young Master Mu hurriedly bowed to Emperor Gu of Songzhu. I was reckless. Please forgive me, Emperor Gu of Songzhu. Get up. Emperor Gu of Songzhu spoke calmly. With his status, he wouldn't argue with a junior. I'll be the witness of this bet. The winner is Chu Fengmian. Mu Bai, hand over your winnings. Young Master Mu's expression turned extremely ugly after hearing this. He had never thought that he would lose the bet with Chu Fengmian. This time, he had already gone bankrupt. He had taken out all of his wealth, including the incomparably precious primogenitor statue comprehension token. This was given to him by the Mu family because they saw that he was extremely talented. Now that they wanted him to hand it over, he was extremely unwilling. However, it was impossible for him to go back on his word in front of Emperor Gu. If he dared to do so, Emperor Gu of Songzhu would be the first to kill him. Young Master Mu's face turned pale. In the end, he obediently handed over the 50,000 jade dragon pills and the ancestral statue enlightenment token. The 5 Chankuan gourds and the ancestral statue enlightenment token were taken away by a surge of spiritual energy the moment they were handed over. They flew to Chu Fengmian. These are all yours. Emperor Gu of Songzhu said to Chu Fengmian. Thank you, Emperor Gu. Chu Fengmian hurriedly put away the 5 Chankuan gourds and the ancestral statue enlightenment token. Chu Fengmian didn't really care about the 50,000 jade dragon pills. However, the ancestral statue enlightenment token was what he needed the most right now. Alright, the ranking of the assessment is out. First place is Chu Fengmian, second place is Mu Bai, third place is Niu Shi. Emperor Gu of Songzhu read out the names one by one. Being in second place was already something to be proud of for ordinary martial artists and Yao gods. However, young Master Mu felt that it was extremely grating and even a form of humiliation when he heard it. He had lost this time, and it was a crushing defeat. This made young Master Mu hate Chu Fengmian even more intensely. There would be a day when he would kill Chu Fengmian. Everyone knew about this monstrous desire to kill, but Chu Fengmian didn't take it seriously. Young Master Mu was no big deal. He was just a toy that Chu Fengmian had found. Chu Fengmian's true goal was to stand at the peak of all heavens. The entire sacred dragon mystery domain was just a stepping stone for him. As for young Master Mu, he was just an ant that he could casually stomp to death. Everyone, wait in the square. The disciple recruitment ceremony is about to begin. We will decide your allegiance. Emperor Gu of Songzhou said calmly. The disciple recruitment ceremony. This could be said to be the most important thing for all the newcomers. The rankings of the 4 sects and 8 halls were different in the Sacred Dragon secret domain. Joining a sect or a hall would result in a different future. According to the rules of the Sacred Dragon secret domain, joining a hall from one hall was extremely rare. However, there were very few people who could achieve this. In fact, it could even be said that there was less than 1 in 100 people. To the majority of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm's disciples, the moment they joined a hall, it represented their entire lives. After waiting for less than an hour, suddenly, several figures appeared in the sky. The weakest among them was a 6th Tribulation True Emperor. They stood in the sky and looked down at the crowd. It's the people from the 8 halls. There were more than 10 figures among them. They seemed to belong to the 8 powers and were the elders of the 8 halls. They were currently sizing up the countless martial artists and Yao gods on the square. Chapter 1300. Almost everyone present guessed that Mu Xian was here to pick up young Master Mu. Yes. Hearing Mu Xian's words, young Master Mu respectfully came to his side. Uncle Xian. What a disgrace. As a member of the Mu family, you can't even compete with a little guy. Your talent surpasses mine. Why don't you cultivate diligently? When you reach the 6 ultimate sect, you should cultivate diligently. With your talent, how can you submit to others? Seeing the ranking on the water mirror, Mu Xian coldly snorted. Let's go. Uncle Xian, the primogenitor statue comprehension token given to me by my family has been obtained by this person. Young Master Mu saw Mu Xian's arrival and knew that he had come to his backer. He hurriedly spoke to Mu Xian. This person schemed and cheated the primogenitor statue comprehension token. What's going on? Hearing this, Mu Xian immediately looked at young Master Mu. It's like this, young Master Mu exaggerated and narrated what had just happened. However, he avoided the fact that he took the initiative to provoke Chu Fengmian first. He spoke as if Chu Fengmian deliberately framed young Master Mu. The whole place was silent. The warriors and demon gods present knew what had just happened. They could hear that young Master Mu was spouting nonsense. But now, no one dared to speak. Chu Fengmian dared to go against young Master Mu, but it didn't mean that they dared. Moreover, young Master Mu was about to join the 6 ultimate sect, one of the 4 sections. His future was limitless. Offending young Master Mu now was courting death. As for Chu Fengmian, he was too lazy to refute. The corner of his mouth revealed a cold smile. This Mu Xian was obviously a member of the Mu family. Could it be that he was here to uphold justice? Young Master Mu's words were just an excuse. Even if Chu Fengmian refuted, it was meaningless. He was too lazy to waste his breath. How stupid. Mu Xian reprimanded young Master Mu after hearing his words. I was careless. At this time, young Master Mu was no longer as arrogant as before. He spoke respectfully. At the same time, he looked at Chu Fengmian and sneered in his heart. So what if Chu Fengmian won the bet today? He had to spit out all the benefits. The primogenitor statue comprehension token belongs to my Mu family. Little brat, you tricked me into taking it. Since this brat is stupid, I will not punish you today. Hand over the primogenitor statue comprehension token. Mu Xian looked at Chu Fengmian and slowly opened his mouth. 50,000 jade dragon great pills was nothing to him. But this primogenitor statue comprehension token had great value. As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere at the scene became extremely cold. Although the elders of the 8 halls were all present, none of them were prepared to speak up to dissuade him. Mu Xian was a disciple of the 6 ultimate sect. His future achievements would far surpass theirs. Each and every one of them wanted to curry favor with Mu Xian. Who would stand up for Chu Fengmian at this time for no reason? As for who was right and who was wrong at this time, it no longer had any meaning. To them, only benefits were eternal. Should I use my full strength? Chu Fengmian pondered. Obviously, this wouldn't end well. The primogenitor statue comprehension token was extremely valuable. Chu Fengmian wouldn't be willing to give it up just like that. But with Mu Xian's strength, unless Chu Fengmian used his full strength, he wouldn't have a chance to contend against him. This was the sacred dragon's secret realm. There were many experts, including Emperor Gu. Once Chu Fengmian used his full strength, all of his trump cards would be exposed. Chu Fengmian had too many secrets. Once he used his full strength, it would attract the attention of countless experts. One must know that the secrets on Chu Fengmian's body were something that even Emperor Gu would want to obtain. What should I do? Chu Fengmian couldn't think of a solution in his mind. Mu Xian's face had already turned impatient. With his status, it was Chu Fengmian's honor to talk to a junior like Chu Fengmian. But now, Chu Fengmian actually ignored him. Looks like you don't plan to hand over the primogenitor statue comprehension token? I gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. Don't blame me. Give it to me. Rumble. At this moment, Mu Xian suddenly made his move. He grabbed at Chu Fengmian as if he wanted to suppress Chu Fengmian alive. Screw it. Murderous intent surged in Chu Fengmian's eyes. If he were to fall into Mu Xian's hands, Chu Fengmian would probably beg for death. With the grudge between Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu would definitely not let him off. Chu Fengmian gathered his spirit energy and was about to make his move. In the sky, a ray of light suddenly descended. This ray of light forcibly blocked the power of Mu Xian in front of Chu Fengmian. At the same time, a figure appeared in the sky. It was a very young man with a 5-colored ray of light behind his back. Each ray of light contained a terrifying power. Chu Fengmian could sense that this young man's cultivation was only at the 3 Tribulation True Emperor realm. However, his power was definitely at the level of a 6 Tribulation True Emperor. Even this ray of light was enough to suppress Mu Xian. Luo Kang. This is my Mu clan's business, why are you interfering? Mu Xian's eyes flashed with a hint of dread after seeing the newcomer. You're meddling too much. It doesn't matter if I'm meddling too much. You're the one who's attacking our holy dragon sect's disciple. The young man named Luo Kang flickered and appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian, right? From now on, you're a disciple of our holy dragon sect. I'm here on orders to receive you. Holy Dragon Sect. From Luo Kang's actions, everyone could see that he was definitely a disciple of one of the 4 sections, a 3 Tribulation True Emperor with the power of a 6 Tribulation True Emperor. He was definitely a monstrous genius. However, no one expected him to be a disciple of the mysterious Holy Dragon Sect. He came to take Chu Fengmian to the sect. It has been decades since the last time the Holy Dragon Sect accepted a disciple. Who would have thought that Chu Fengmian would actually join them? Holy Dragon Sect? When he heard Luo Kang's words, the smug look on young Master Mu's face turned ugly. He thought that he could use young Master Mu's power to suppress Chu Fengmian, but now, Chu Fengmian was a disciple of the Holy Dragon Sect. The Holy Dragon Sect was the leader of the 4 sections. Even 6 Ultimate Sect was below it. Junior brother, come with me. Chapter 1302. Luo Kang completely ignored Mu Xian as he spoke to Chu Fengmian. Mu Xian's expression turned ugly after being ignored by Luo Kang. Even if he's a disciple of the Holy Dragon Sect, he still has to give us an explanation for robbing our Mu clan. Hand over the primogenitor token and I'll let you go, idiot. The people of the Mu clan are indeed shameless. Before Mu Xian could finish speaking, Luo Kang interrupted him. Junior brother, let's go. Let's see if he dares to stop us. Luo Kang took Chu Fengmian and flew up, turning into a ray of light as they prepared to leave. Stop right there. Mu Xian's expression turned infuriated after being ignored by Luo Kang. In his anger, Mu Xian suddenly attacked. Spiritual energy filled the sky as it swept towards Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang. Mu Xian, do you want to fight me? Although you're 2 levels higher than me, it's still a piece of cake for me to deal with you. The corner of Luo Kang's mouth curled up into a sneer as another ray of light appeared behind him. Wherever the ray of light passed, Mu Xian's spiritual energy was mercilessly shattered. Even though Mu Xian's cultivation was far higher than Luo Kang's strength surpassed Mu Xian's in a real fight. This is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? His strength is indeed terrifying. Chu Fengmian was secretly shocked after seeing Luo Kang's strength. He could easily fight someone 3 levels higher than him. Especially when he was an Emperor Realm Master. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him a monster. Moreover, this wasn't even Luo Kang's full strength. No wonder the Holy Dragon sect was known as the #1 sect. If every disciple was as monstrous as this, it would be terrifying. Such terrifying strength. This is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? Everyone in the Holy Dragon secret domain knew of the Holy Dragon sect's prestige, but very few had actually seen a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. After seeing Luo Kang's attack, everyone understood that the rumors about the Holy Dragon sect were not exaggerated. Luo Kang was only a 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but he could easily suppress Mu Xian, who was a 5 Tribulation True Emperor. Especially Mu Xian, who was also a genius and a disciple of the 6 Ultimate sect. Although many of the elders of the 8 halls were 6 Tribulation True Emperors, they were no match for Mu Xian. But now, Luo Kang could easily suppress Mu Xian. If Luo Kang took a step further, his strengths, he would be close to Emperor Gu's level. Such a prodigy was indeed a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Damn it! Mu Heaven's Mu Whip. Mu Xian was pushed back by a single move, and his face turned even uglier. Under Mu's Mu Essence. Mu Xian's Mu was. Xian Mu was Mu Mu's Tian was. He Mu used using Smu Mu Lane S. Luo. Luo Kang let out a disdainful laugh as the 5-colored light behind him shone again. Mu's. Mu's Mu's. Lu Kang. King of Inner Demons. Boom! A figure suddenly appeared behind Chu Fengmian and pointed a finger at Mu Xian. The moment the Mind-Spirit Monarch appeared, everyone present could feel the inner demons in their hearts beginning to churn with eagerness. This was especially so for Mu Xian, who was standing right in front of the King of the Inner Demons. He felt dizzy and spat out a mouthful of blood. What is this? Why did it trigger my inner demon? Mu Xian was already furious. His mind was unstable. Under the influence of the King of the Inner Demon, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, a pitch-black figure appeared behind Mu Xian. It was his inner demon, about to break out of his body. What is this? Luo Kang, who was standing behind Chu Fengmian, was shocked. Given his state of mind, the King of the Inner Demon wouldn't be able to affect him. However, Luo Kang could tell that the King of the Inner Demon was a terrifying existence. If the King of the Inner Demon suddenly appeared during a battle, one would be distracted for a moment. In a battle between sovereigns, a moment of distraction was enough to determine the outcome. This junior brother is interesting. However, Luo Kang wasn't worried. Instead, he was happy. Chu Fengmian had joined the Holy Dragon sect. The stronger Chu Fengmian was, the happier he was. Erode. Chu Fengmian looked at Mu Xian and activated the King of the Inner Demon without holding back. Earlier, Chu Fengmian had wanted to deal with Mu Xian. However, it wasn't convenient for him to do so. Now that he had joined the Holy Dragon sect, Chu Fengmian had a backer in the Sacred Dragon secret realm. Chu Fengmian could finally act freely. Countless inner demons surged from Mu Xian's body. The demons roared as if they wanted to erode his mind. Stop! Just as Mu Xian's mind was being eroded by the inner demons, a ray of golden light suddenly descended from the sky and landed on Mu Xian's body. Mu Xian's eroded mind was slowly awakened by this ray of golden light. A powerhouse has made his move. The owner of this ray of golden light was definitely Emperor Gu, as it could easily suppress the power of the King of the Inner Demon. King of the Inner Demon, come back. It wouldn't be difficult for Chu Fengmian to kill Mu Xian if he unleashed his full power. However, Chu Fengmian would have to be cautious if he encountered Emperor Gu. The King of the Inner Demon returned to Chu Fengmian's side and stood in front of him, ready to strike at any time. Humph! A cold snort reverberated through the sky and smashed into everyone's hearts. Everyone could feel the anger contained in this cold snort. An old man had appeared beside Mu Xian. His gaze was fixed on the King of the Inner Demon in front of Chu Fengmian. The Inner Demon of Heart Scar Peak? A hint of fear flashed across the old man's eyes as he carefully observed the King of the Inner Demon in front of Chu Fengmian. He naturally knew about the Inner Demon of Heart Scar Peak. Heart Scar Peak had become famous because of this. It was no wonder that there had been rumors some time ago that the Inner Demon of Heart Scar Peak had weakened. He had never imagined that the Inner Demon would actually be taken away. Greetings, Emperor Gu. Chapter 1303. Seeing the appearance of this old man, the elders from the 8 halls all hurriedly greeted him. A 6th Tribulation True Emperor was only one level away from Emperor Gu, but their statuses were completely different. Not even 1 out of 106 Tribulation True Emperors could become Emperor Gu. With enough resources, it wasn't difficult for an emperor to become a 6th Tribulation True Emperor. However, in order to reach Emperor Gu's level, resources and heaven-defying talents were also required. Both the disciples and elders didn't lack resources in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. Thus, there were many 6th Tribulation True Emperors, but not many of them could reach Emperor Gu's level. Moreover, each of them was a true big shot. Even 6th Tribulation True Emperors had to greet them. A heart demon harming people at such a young age. So ruthless. Ancient Emperor Fengwang said coldly as he looked at Mu Xian and Chu Fengmian. If he didn't come, Mu Xian would have lost a layer of skin even if he didn't die. At the very least, his mental state would have regressed by dozens of years and wouldn't be able to take another step forward. For the disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm, not being able to take another step forward for dozens of years meant that they would be crippled. They might even be expelled from the 4 sects in the future. Not really, he's just reaping what he sowed. Chu Fengmian smiled faintly. He was not afraid even when facing ancient Emperor Fangguang. Earlier, Mu Xian wanted to suppress Chu Fengmian first. Chu Fengmian wouldn't be far from death after falling into this person's hands. Letting Mu Xian suffer a loss and affect his mental state for dozens of years was already merciful enough. Hearing this, ancient Emperor Fangguang's gaze turned a lot colder. So young yet so evil. Clearly, you're not from the right path. Come with me to the enforcement hall to see if you're a spy from the devil race. Ancient Emperor Fengguang glanced at Chu Fengmian and suddenly moved his finger. Chu Fengmian could feel that the surrounding power of heaven and earth was being controlled by ancient Emperor Fengguang. Ancient Emperor Fengguang was suppressing Chu Fengmian's body, trying to suppress him. Emperor Gu Fangguang, this person is a disciple of the Holy Dragon Sect. Whether or not he's a demon spy is up to the Holy Dragon Sect. Why? Do you intend to interfere with the matters of the Holy Dragon Sect? At that instant, Luo Kong suddenly spoke. At the same time, a jade talisman flew out from his hand. There was a dragon-shaped imprint engraved on the jade talisman. The power contained within the jade talisman was even stronger than the power of Emperor Gu. Holy Dragon Sect? The moment he saw the jade talisman, Emperor Gu of Fangguang's expression changed slightly. The power in his hand also weakened. Even he was extremely wary of the jade talisman. Good Holy Dragon Sect. Today, I can't be bothered to argue with a few juniors. Emperor Gu of Fangguang snorted and withdrew the spiritual power from Chu Fengmian. At the same time, he looked at Chu Fengmian and said, "But remember, Junior, if you dare to hurt my disciple, I will definitely go to the Holy Dragon Sect and settle the score with you." After saying that, Emperor Gu of Fanguang ignored Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang. He grabbed Mu Xian and young Master Mu and turned into a beam of light and flew away. This kid is going to be troublesome in the future. Many people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengmian and whispered. Emperor Gu of Fanguang left. However, the meaning behind his last words clearly showed that he had no intention of letting Chu Fengmian off. Offending Emperor Gu was an extremely dangerous thing. Moreover, Emperor Gu of Fanguang was also Emperor Gu of the Holy Dragon Secret Territory. Even the Holy Dragon Secret Territory could not protect Chu Fengmian. But who knows? Chu Fengmian has joined the Holy Dragon sect. Some ancient martial art practitioners could not help but comment. No matter how strong the Holy Dragon sect is, can they protect this kid forever? After offending Emperor Gu, this kid is completely finished. The crowd discussed. Many people looked at Chu Fengmian with jealousy. After all, Chu Fengmian had joined the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian did not take these discussions seriously. The arguments of a group of ants had nothing to do with him. Junior brother, let's go. I'll bring you to the Holy Dragon sect now. Since Emperor Gu of Fanguang had left, Luo Kang did not plan to stay any longer. He turned into a beam of light and flew up into the sky. Chu Fengmian followed behind. The 4 sects of the Holy Dragon Secret Territory were located on the 4 surrounding mountain peaks. The Holy Dragon sect was located on the tallest Holy Dragon Peak. Luo Kang brought Chu Fengmian and flew all the way. The moment they got close to the Holy Dragon Peak, the sky was filled with restrictive spells. Chu Fengmian looked at the restrictive spells that filled the sky. Every single one of them was extremely terrifying. Even Emperor Gu would die if he tried to force his way in. Moreover, many of the restrictive spells were extremely new. It was obvious that they were not left behind from ancient times. They had been set up not long ago. The foundation of the Holy Dragon sect is really terrifying. The owner of these restrictive spells was at least a 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. The Holy Dragon sect actually had a 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. However, these restrictive spells all retreated when they came into contact with the Jade Talisman in Luo Kang's hand. They opened up a path for Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang to enter. The Jade Talisman of the Holy Dragon sect contains the method to activate the restrictive spells on the Holy Dragon Peak. I'll pass it to you when we reach the sect. Then, you can enter and leave freely. Luo Kang smiled as he watched Chu Fengmian observe the restrictive spells on the Holy Dragon Peak. I didn't expect that there would be a newcomer this time. In this case, our Holy Dragon sect finally has another disciple. Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian with incomparable joy in his eyes. He seemed to be extremely happy. Our Holy Dragon sect has very few disciples? Chu Fengmian asked curiously when he saw Luo Kang's reaction. Oh? You don't know? Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian strangely when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then, he smiled and said. It seems that junior brother doesn't know much about the Holy Dragon sect. Our Holy Dragon sect only has a total of 5 disciples. Of course, including you, we have a total of 6 disciples. As for me, I'm your 5th senior brother. 5 disciples? Chu Fengmian was shocked when he heard this. Although the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension only accepted geniuses, there were more than 100,000 disciples in total. Of course, most of them were ordinary disciples. There were only a few tens of thousands of disciples. Who would have thought that the Holy Dragon sect, the leader of the 4 sects and 8 halls, only had a total of 5 disciples? Including Chu Fengmian, there were only 6. Is there really no one else? Chu Fengmian couldn't help but ask again. No. Luo Kang shook his head. If you're talking about elders or grand elders, our Holy Dragon sect doesn't have any elders. We only have 5 disciples. Including you, we have 6. Chapter 1304. There were no elders. There were only 6 disciples. Chu Fengmian was dumbfounded by Luo Kang's words. Although he had heard that the Holy Dragon sect's disciples were extremely rare, this was simply too rare. Compared to the entire Holy Dragon secret dimension, it was 1 in 10,000. Including Chu Fengmian, there were only 6 people. The Holy Dragon sect was enough to be the leader of the 4 sections. Why? Is it strange? Luo Kang asked with a smile when he saw Chu Fengmian's expression. Do you think that ordinary geniuses are qualified to join our Holy Dragon sect? All the Holy Dragon sect disciples are monstrous geniuses. Even if there are only 6 of us, we are still qualified to be the leader of the 4 sections. Actually, even you are not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. Third senior sister specially asked me to bring you back to observe you. But now, there is no need. Luo Kang said with a smile. He was in a good mood. I didn't expect that the heart demon of Heart Scar Mountain would be subdued by you. Back then, when second senior brother tried to subdue it, he didn't succeed. Just based on this, you can be considered a demon. You have the qualifications to join our Holy Dragon sect. Let's go first. Third senior sister is still waiting. When we arrive, I will tell you more about our Holy Dragon sect. Luo Kang sped up as Chu Fengmian chased after him. The 2 streaks of light raced to catch up and arrived at the Holy Dragon Peak. Compared to the other peaks that were filled with thousands of golden palaces, the Holy Dragon Peak was much quieter. There were only a few dozen palaces of various sizes hidden in the forest. Furthermore, it would appear that a large number of the palaces were no longer inhabited. They had been empty for a very long time. Only 5 of the palaces had spirit formations on them. Luo Kang's light flew all the way to a palace on the mountainside. As soon as Luo Kang arrived, Chu Fengmian's escape light also arrived. Luo Kang seemed to be deliberately competing with Chu Fengmian, and Chu Fengmian certainly didn't dare to show weakness. His escape light wasn't inferior at all. Third senior sister, I have brought him. Luo Kang laughed and shouted as soon as he stepped into the palace. What a fast escape light. Looks like our 6th junior brother this time is quite capable. A woman slowly appeared within the palace. This woman appeared to be in her early 20s. She was dressed in bright purple clothes, but she did not appear seductive. Instead, she gave off a noble air. Furthermore, to Chu Fengmian's surprise, there was a faintly discernible and incomparably terrifying natural energy on the body of the woman before him. This kind of power. Emperor Gu. The woman in front of him was Emperor Gu. The disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were all Emperor Gu? Chu Fengmian was startled. The ancient emperor was considered a grand elder in the sacred dragon mystery domain. However, this third senior sister was already an ancient emperor. Then, there was also second senior brother and eldest senior brother. How strong were they? Moreover, this woman was likely much stronger than Emperor Gu of Fanguan. This is our Holy Dragon sect's third senior sister, Qing Meng. Luo Kang, who was at the side, introduced. Chu Fengmian was startled and immediately reacted. Greetings, third senior sister. Junior brother, there's no need to be so restrained. Our Holy Dragon sect does not have those so-called rules. There is only one rule. Once you enter the Holy Dragon sect, you must be united. No one is allowed to harm fellow disciples. Other than that, there are no other rules. Even if you leave the Holy Dragon mystery domain in the future, it will be the same. Luo Kang smiled casually when he saw Chu Fengmian's restraint. Leave the Holy Dragon mystery domain? Chu Fengmian did not react when he heard this. Fifth junior brother, let's not talk about these digressions. Since you've accepted him? What do you think of our sixth junior brother? Third senior sister Qing Meng glanced at Luo Kang and asked casually. Don't worry, sixth junior brother is definitely qualified to join our Holy Dragon sect. Just now, he almost killed that trash Mu Xian. Luo Kang's tone was somewhat unhappy when he mentioned Mu Xian. He seemed to be a little resentful. However, when he thought of Mu Xian's defeat just now, a smile appeared on his face. Oh? Almost killed Mu Xian? Is that true? Qing Meng couldn't believe it and glanced at Chu Fengmian. After all, Mu Xian was a 5 tribulation true emperor. His true strength was not weak among 6 tribulation true emperors. Chu Fengmian was only at the immoral realm. The gap between their cultivation levels was too great. Qing Meng would believe it if Luo Kang killed Mu Xian, but Chu Fengmian. I borrowed some external power. Chu Fengmian casually replied. At the same time, the king of the inner demons suddenly appeared behind him. Chu Fengmian could see that the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were all monstrous geniuses. If one didn't display enough talent, they wouldn't be able to join their ranks. Inner demon? What is that? It looks like an inner demon, but it's even stronger in an independent existence. Qing Meng's Dao heart fluctuated when she saw the king of the inner demon. Although it was weak, it was enough to represent the king of the inner demon and affect Emperor Gu. Of course, this was the result of Chu Fengmian not activating the king of the inner demon. Once he did, even Emperor Gu would be affected by the king of the inner demon. In this world, the most difficult thing to deal with was the inner demon. There was no way to guard against it. Only someone like Chu Fengmian who had experienced life and death and had lived 2 lives wouldn't be affected by it. Heart Scar Peak, this is the Heart Scar Peak's devil? Qing Meng pondered for a moment and suddenly understood what kind of existence this Heart Demon King was. Very good. This is an unexpected surprise. Even the ancient emperor could not subdue this Heart Demon. You actually managed to do so. In the future, when you grow stronger, this Heart Demon will be even more useful to you. Given Green Dream's strength, she could naturally tell that the king of the inner demons wasn't just a mere king of the inner demons. An ownerless king of the inner demon was enough to make Emperor Gu unable to subdue it. Now that the king of the inner demon was under Chu Fengmian's control, it would be even more terrifying. If Chu Fengmian released the king of the inner demon while fighting against others, it could stir up the opponent's inner demons at a critical moment and kill them with one blow. You are qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect based on this. Qing Meng looked at Chu Fengmian with delight. The last time was Luo Kang. He joined the Holy Dragon sect 25 years ago. Finally, I have another junior brother. After witnessing Chu Fengmian's strength, Qing Meng also acknowledged Chu Fengmian joining the Holy Dragon sect and became much friendlier. Chapter 1305. There were very few disciples in the Holy Dragon sect. Usually, there would only be 2 or 3 people in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. Now, there was one more person, Chu Fengmian. Our Holy Dragon sect doesn't have an elder or a sect master. Everyone addresses each other as senior brothers, with eldest senior brother as the leader. However, eldest senior brother isn't usually in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. If there's anything, you can look for me. Qing Meng looked at Chu Fengmian and turned to Luo Kang with a smile. 5th junior brother, 6th junior brother has just joined the sect. You can lead him to get his identity badge. After Qing Meng finished speaking, her figure flashed and disappeared from the palace. Given Qing Meng's strength, even Chu Fengmian couldn't see how she left. 6th junior brother, let's go first. Luo Kang turned and walked out of the palace. Chu Fengmian followed behind him. Luo Kang led Chu Fengmian all the way to a palace at the top of the mountain. This palace appeared to be incomparably ancient, and its surface was covered with countless runes. At a glance, one could even see numerous cracks on the walls. Mysterious crystal jade iron. A palace made of mysterious crystal jade iron? It's actually cracked. Chu Fengmian took a closer look at the palace and his eyes widened. This palace was made of mysterious crystal jade iron, a material used by countless Emperor Gu to refine weapons. Even Emperor Gu couldn't leave a mark on it. This palace was made of mysterious crystal jade iron, but it was cracked. This was something that even the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu couldn't do. This palace is called the Holy Dragon Palace. It used to be the palace of the Holy Dragon sect's sect master. The cracks on it were left behind by our sect master when he was cultivating. It contains his martial way. If you have time, you can come and study it. Luo Kang wasn't surprised by Chu Fengmian's surprise. It was the same when he first came to the Holy Dragon sect. Moreover, he came to the Holy Dragon sect from the 8 halls. Chu Fengmian was a newcomer, so it was normal that he didn't know. It's not just this one. Almost all the palaces on Sacred Dragon Peak have traces of their former owner's martial Dao. You can comprehend martial Dao from them. That's right, junior brother, you can choose a palace to be your cave dwelling. Of course, you can also build your own palace. Luo Kang explained in detail. Let's go first. We'll talk more when we get inside. As Luo Kang spoke, he took a step into the Sacred Dragon Palace. Chu Fengmian followed closely behind and stepped out as well. The moment he stepped into the palace, Chu Fengmian felt the world spinning around him. All of a sudden, the scenery around him changed and turned into a valley. The spirit qi in the valley was extremely dense. The spirit qi in the Holy Dragon secret dimension was already extremely dense. However, the spirit qi in the valley was several hundred times denser than the spirit qi in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. It was as if Chu Fengmian was refining a large number of spirit stones with every breath he took. He could condense several spirit stones with a casual pinch, forming a small world of its own. This is already the pinnacle of a heavenly spiritual treasure. This is a palace. Chu Fengmian muttered to himself. This palace was not inferior to the Sword Sovereign Palace of the Master of Sword Principle. It was an existence that could form a small world of its own. However, the Sword Sovereign Palace was already severely damaged. Back at the Flame Heavenly Lake, the Sword Sovereign Palace had not recovered from the heavenly fire. It was far from being able to contend against the Holy Dragon Palace. That's right. This small world is the foundation of our Holy Dragon sect. Other than our Holy Dragon sect disciples, even the Supreme Elders of the Holy Dragon secret dimension are not qualified to step into it. Luo Kang said with a proud look on his face. The Holy Dragon sect's position in the Holy Dragon secret dimension was indeed extraordinary. Even a small disciple like him was on equal footing with the elders of the 4 sections. Even the Supreme Elders were not qualified to interfere in the matters of the Holy Dragon sect. If junior brother intends to cultivate in seclusion, you can come to the Holy Dragon Palace. No one will disturb you. As Luo Kang spoke, he stepped into the valley. He took out a jade talisman from within and handed it to Chu Fengmian. The 2 words Holy Dragon were engraved on the jade talisman. The moment Chu Fengmian took it, the jade talisman suddenly merged with the jade talisman in front of Chu Fengmian's chest. The 2 words Holy Dragon were also engraved on it. From now on, junior brother, you are a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Once you become a Holy Dragon disciple, you can be promoted to the level of a true disciple. When there is time, I will bring you to the disciple hall to be promoted. Promoted to a true disciple directly. Chu Fengmian had heard that once one became a disciple of the 4 sects, one would at least be an inner disciple. However, he did not expect the Holy Dragon sect to be so exaggerated that one could be promoted to a true disciple directly. If a disciple of the Holy Dragon secret dimension wanted to be promoted, it was not as simple as strength. They also needed a large amount of contribution points. They even needed to complete some tasks and work for the sect before they could be promoted. An ordinary disciple might not be able to be promoted to a true disciple even after 100 years. Now that Chu Fengmian had just joined the Holy Dragon sect, he was qualified to be promoted to a true disciple. It could be said that he was extremely lucky. Becoming a true disciple would not only increase one's status, but also obtain more resources in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. There were only a few thousand true disciples in the entire Holy Dragon secret dimension. Oh yes, here is a jade talisman left behind by senior brother. I can give it to you now. Luo Kang handed over another jade talisman. The appearance of this jade talisman was extremely similar to the jade talisman that Luo Kang had taken out when facing Emperor Gu Fan Guang. Just from the power of this jade talisman, Chu Fengmian could clearly feel that the power it contained was even more terrifying than the power of an ancient emperor. If this power exploded in an instant, even Emperor Gu might not be able to withstand it. This jade talisman was personally refined by Senior Brother. Every disciple of the Holy Dragon sect has one. It is enough to protect ourselves at a critical moment. With this jade talisman, even Emperor Gu would not dare to do anything to us. Luo Kong said. Just now, he had used this jade talisman to force Emperor Gu to leave. Even Emperor Gu would choose to leave when faced with this jade talisman. Senior Brother? Refined jade talisman? Chu Fengmian took the jade talisman. Looking at it from afar, Chu Fengmian could see how terrifying this jade talisman was. Now that Chu Fengmian held it in his hand, he could almost feel a strong surge of spiritual energy that was about to explode from this jade talisman. Chapter 1306. The power of this jade talisman could only be unleashed once. However, once this jade talisman was unleashed, it would have the power to destroy heaven and earth. It would not be a problem to kill Emperor Gu. How strong is our eldest senior brother? Chu Fengmian suddenly asked. This mysterious eldest senior brother had refined a jade talisman that had the power to kill the ancient emperor. How frightening was eldest senior brother's true strength? Chu Fengmian even had a feeling that this mysterious eldest senior brother was more powerful than the young emperor that Chu Fengmian had met. Our eldest senior brother is called Yunzun. He is a half-step heaven man, the #1 emperor of all times, invincible in the emperor realm. He is the #1 disciple of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. It is said that the old ancestor intended to let him be the next sect master of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain, but he refused. When mentioning their eldest senior brother, their eyes were full of undisguised admiration. Geniuses like Luo Kong were all extremely proud people, but when they faced their eldest senior brother Yunzun, their eyes were full of admiration. Half-step heaven man, the #1 emperor of all times? The #1 person of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain? Hearing this, Chu Fengmian was shocked. Half-step heaven man, invincible in the emperor realm. What kind of person could have such an evaluation? To be called a half-step heaven man, Yunzun's strength had surpassed that of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. He was close to becoming a heaven man. Moreover, our eldest senior brother is only a little over 100 years old this year. He is almost a heaven man in the future and will ascend to immortality. Luo Kong spoke again. This time, even Chu Fengmian was shocked. A little over 100 years old and he was already Emperor Gu of the 9 Tribulations? A half-step heaven man? One must know that for a cultivator, 100 years old was almost the same age as a newcomer. For example, many newcomers in the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain were already over 100 years old. Although Luo Kong was young, he was at least close to 100 years old. Stepping into the Emperor realm at the age of 100 was enough to be regarded as a peerless genius. In many continents, such a genius was enough to leave their name in history and be admired by tens of thousands of people. Yet now, Luo Kong had said that his eldest martial brother Yunzun was only over 100 years old. Thus, how could Chu Fengmian not be shocked? Then, he's still eldest senior brother? Suddenly, Chu Fengmian said doubtfully. That third senior sister, Qing Meng, whom he had just seen, was probably a few hundred years old, while eldest senior brother was only a little over 100 years old. Oh, our Holy Dragon sect's ranking doesn't depend on age or time of entry. It only depends on strength. If you can defeat me, you'll be the 5th senior brother and I'll be your junior brother. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian and smiled. Since eldest senior brother came to the Holy Dragon sect, he has defeated everyone in every 10 years. Naturally, he will be the eldest senior brother. Of course, 6th junior brother, you can challenge me if you want. As long as you defeat me, you will be my senior brother. Strength reigns supreme? These words popped up in Chu Fengmian's mind. However, Chu Fengmian also understood that for a venerable sovereign, living for tens of thousands of years was not a problem. For many demon immortals, they could even live up to 100,000 years. Age meant nothing to them. Since they had stepped into the world of martial Dao, they naturally respected the martial Dao and strength reigned supreme. Fifth senior brother, do you want to spar with me? Chu Fengmian looked at Luo Kang beside him and suddenly said with a smile. Why? Do you really want to challenge me? Luo Kang was stunned when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then, he laughed. When eldest senior brother first entered the Holy Dragon sect, he also cultivated hard for 10 years before coming to challenge me. Now that you've arrived, you want to challenge me? Well then. Luo Kang was just about to accept the challenge when he suddenly thought of something and hurriedly shook his head. Forget it, forget it. I'd better not fight with you. I'm afraid that I'll be affected by your inner demon. When the time comes, it will affect my Dao heart. The gains won't make up for the losses. Luo Kang suddenly thought of Chu Fengmian's king of inner demons. He didn't take Chu Fengmian's strength seriously, but if Chu Fengmian activated the king of inner demons in a fight, it would definitely be enough to affect his Dao heart. Once his Dao heart was affected, his realm would be unstable at best. In the worst case, he would die on the spot. Luo Kang didn't dare to take this risk. I won't use the king of inner demons. How about it? Chu Fengmian smiled when he heard Luo Kang's words. You won't use the inner demon? Luo Kang's eyes flashed with surprise. He originally thought that Chu Fengmian was relying on the king of inner demons. Indeed, even he felt that the king of inner demons' power was incomparably troublesome and difficult to deal with. But now, Chu Fengmian actually wanted to fight without using the king of inner demons. Since you said so, I'll accept it. However, this battle will end when it's appropriate. I don't want to hurt you so that third senior sister won't blame me. Luo Kang looked around and his figure flashed as he laughed loudly. There's an arena outside the valley. Let's fight there. All right. Chu Fengmian followed Luo Kang and left the valley in a flash of light. There was an arena outside the valley. Clearly, this was the Holy Dragon Palace, where the Holy Dragon sect's disciples sparred. Many jade bottles were placed at the edge of the arena. They contained sacred healing medicines that could restore spiritual energy. Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang stepped onto the arena. Many restrictions formed around the arena, keeping them inside. This way, the battle in the arena wouldn't affect the outside world. Sixth junior brother, you're the junior brother. You'll be the first to fight. Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian with a confident smile. His realm was 4 levels higher than Chu Fengmian's. Moreover, Luo Kang was a peerless genius to be able to join the Holy Dragon sect. He was confident that he would win this battle. All right then. Be careful. Chu Fengmian didn't decline. In an instant, he attacked. Chu Fengmian wanted to see how heaven-defying the strength of the Holy Dragon sect's disciples were. Although Luo Kang had fought with Mu Xian before, Chu Fengmian could tell that Luo Kang hadn't used his true strength. Chu Fengmian had fought countless geniuses along the way. He wasn't afraid of anyone. Today, he was going to fight with a genius from the extraterritorial starry sky. Battle Dragon Claw. The Battle Dragon bloodline within Chu Fengmian's body suddenly flared up. Then, a Battle Dragon Claw appeared in the sky above his head and slammed down towards Luo Kang. On the other side, Luo Kang's face was extremely calm. However, rays of multicolored light formed behind him. Multicolored light appeared behind him and formed a barrier in front of the descending Battle Dragon Claw. Chapter 1307. Chu Fengmian's Battle Dragon Claw descended from the sky and collided with the 5-colored radiance. Chu Fengmian didn't hold back the power of this Battle Dragon Claw. He had a fortuitous encounter in the Nether Ghost realm and his strength had improved further. This Battle Dragon Claw was comparable to a 5 Tribulation True Emperor's all-out attack, but it still couldn't shake the 5-colored radiance. What a strong defense! Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered as he looked at Luo Kang with a serious expression. Sure enough, none of the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were ordinary people. The 5-colored radiance behind Luo Kang was both offensive and defensive. This person must have cultivated an incredible cultivation method. However, it wasn't just Chu Fengmian who was shocked. Luo Kang was also shocked when he took on the battle Dragon Claw. This was a power comparable to a 5 Tribulation True Emperor. One had to know that Chu Fengmian wasn't even a quasi-emperor. He was only at the immortal realm, but he already possessed such terrifying power. Even Luo Kang was only able to do this when he reached the emperor realm. I didn't expect junior brother to be so strong. It seems that you will surpass me soon, but you are still lacking a little. Luo Kang laughed and his eyes became serious. He didn't consider Chu Fengmian as an opponent at first, but now that he saw Chu Fengmian's strength, he understood that Chu Fengmian wasn't someone he could defeat in a few moves. Condense. Luo Kang clenched his right hand and the 5-colored radiance behind him flew out and turned into a spear in his hand. He thrust it directly at Chu Fengmian. This 5-colored light was like the power of the 5 elements. However, it was much more mysterious than the power of the 5 elements. Every move was able to complement each other, and it was able to unleash a power that was dozens of times stronger than the power of the 5 elements. Good. Chu Fengmian laughed when he saw the spear coming towards him. He was delighted to fight with such a genius. Soaring Serpent Transformation. Everything that happened in the Holy Dragon Temple couldn't be detected from the outside, so Chu Fengmian didn't need to hide. Suddenly, the Soaring Serpent bloodline boiled in Chu Fengmian's body. An illusory image of a flying serpent shrouded Chu Fengmian's body. In an instant, Chu Fengmian's aura became several times more terrifying. His cultivation realm was no longer comparable to that of a quasi-emperor. Suddenly, Chu Fengmian clenched his fist towards the long spear. The long spear was crushed in Chu Fengmian's hand. Innate Divine Beast? This is the power of the Soaring Serpent. Luo Kang was shocked to see the Tang Serpent's shadow appear on Chu Fengmian's body. Then, he realized which innate divine beast this was. The Soaring Serpent, the god of the earth, symbolized supreme power. Although he knew that behind Chu Fengmian's strength, there must be a shocking fortuitous encounter, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengmian even had the bloodline of an innate divine beast. Your bloodline is strong, but your cultivation level is still too low. Sword. Spear. Halberd. Luo Kang shouted coldly. The 5-colored light behind him condensed into a different weapon and pierced towards Chu Fengmian. He could see that the bloodline of the Soaring Serpent was activated using a secret technique. It couldn't be maintained for long. These 3 weapons slashed at Chu Fengmian almost one after another. The multicolored light burst out completely, shrouding the whole area as it slashed toward Chu Fengmian from all directions. Sky-ripping claw. Chu Fengmian also uttered a cold roar. The 40,000 formations on the battle dragon claw were unleashed all of a sudden, causing the battle dragon claw to transform. As the claw lashed out, the sky was about to be torn apart. The multicolored light that filled the sky was forcibly torn apart. Progenitor Jianwang's bloodline? Another innate divine beast's bloodline? Luo Kang looked as if he had seen a ghost when he saw this. Even in the sacred dragon's secret ground, there were only a few demon immortals who possessed the innate divine beast's bloodline. This kind of fortuitous encounter was definitely the rarest in the world. The fact that Chu Fengmian possessed one type of innate divine beast's bloodline was already shocking enough. However, Chu Fengmian now possessed a second type. It was unprecedented for 2 types of innate divine beast's bloodline to appear in one person's body at the same time. It's not over yet. Just as the 5-colored sunglow behind Luo Kang started to reconstruct itself, a huge vortex suddenly shrouded Luo Kang's head. The vortex began to spin continuously, devouring all of the surrounding 5-colored sunglow. What is this? Another innate divine beast's aura? Heaven-devouring beast? Luo Kang's mind was completely blank. Luo Kang found it hard to believe that Chu Fengmian possessed 2 types of innate divine beast's bloodline. Now, there was a third type? By the time he reacted, his body had already been devoured by the vortex. Stop, stop, stop. Luo Kang hurriedly waved his hand. Seeing this, Chu Fengmian withdrew all the spiritual energy in his body. At the same time, he also secretly dispersed the heaven-devouring secret skill. Luo Kang landed on the ground with a nervous look in his eyes. If he had really fallen into the heaven-devouring secret skill just now, he would have died without a doubt. How could you possess so many types of innate divine beast's bloodline? Luo Kang stared at Chu Fengmian as if he had seen a ghost. A martial artist with 3 types of innate divine beast's bloodline. Even in history, there had never been such a monstrous figure. Was he still human? Chu Fengmian, who had inherited the power of 3 types of innate divine beast's bloodline, could easily suppress Luo Kang. Although Chu Fengmian had seized the opportunity because Luo Kang was a little absent-minded, he would have been defeated without a doubt. I've lost. I didn't expect to become junior brother again. Although Luo Kang had lost, his expression did not change. He only glanced at Chu Fengmian and said with a sigh, I didn't expect such a monster to come to our holy dragon sect. Apart from eldest senior brother, there is no one else who can match your aptitude. It's not wrong for me to lose to a little monster. Luo Kang was very frank. There was nothing he could not afford to lose. His skills were inferior. Moreover, Chu Fengmian possessed 3 types of innate divine beast's bloodline. Such a monstrous figure had never been born in history. It was not a big deal for him to lose to Chu Fengmian. Give me your jade talisman. Luo Kang said to Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian took the jade talisman and handed it to Luo Kang. Luo Kang took out his jade talisman and pointed at it. On Chu Fengmian's jade talisman, there was a number 6 behind the 2 words Holy Dragon. Now, it had become 5. The number in Luo Kang's hand had become 6. Chapter 1308. From now on, you're the 5th disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian and curled his lips. Senior brother, if I knew you had such strength, I wouldn't have fought against Mu Xian. If you had fought, Emperor Gu of Fangguang wouldn't have had a chance to save that trash. Senior brother? Chu Fengmian was stunned. Before he could react, Luo Kang had already addressed him as senior brother. Of course. Our Holy Dragon sect respects strength. Since you've defeated me, you're my senior brother. Of course, I'll defeat you sooner or later. Even if you have 3 types of innate divine beast bloodlines, I have a total of 9 destructive rays. I've only cultivated 5 of them. Once I've cultivated all 9, I'll be as beautiful as a heavenly being. At that time, I'll challenge you again. Luo Kang said with a smile. He didn't care about it at all. To him, a loss was a loss. As long as it was in the future, he would win again. A firm Dao heart. Chu Fengmian looked at Luo Kang and thought to himself. Experts didn't only have one path to be a tyrant. Luo Kang had the heart of an expert. Even if he was defeated, he believed that he would win. In this way, he would definitely win in the future. Many geniuses, for example, had an unstable Dao heart. Once they were defeated, they would not be able to recover from the setback. Many amazing geniuses in history had fallen silent after a battle. However, the Dao of dominance had its benefits. It was enough to motivate oneself. Chu Fengmian walked the Dao of dominance and was invincible. Luo Kang walked to the edge of the arena and picked up a jade bottle. He opened it and took out the elixir. After swallowing it, his spiritual energy was quickly restored. Senior brother, I see that you have the bloodline of primogenitor Jianwang. You must be here for the primogenitor statue in the Holy Dragon secret realm. Luo Kang said to Chu Fengmian with a smile. He was generous and didn't hold back at all when he addressed Chu Fengmian as senior brother. Chu Fengmian could see that Luo Kang was a magnanimous person. He never held a grudge. A friend like him was worth making. That's right. But that's not all. I'm here to find someone. Chu Fengmian looked at Luo Kang and said without hiding anything. Since Chu Fengmian had joined the Holy Dragon sect, he was now a member of the Holy Dragon sect. Rather than calling the Holy Dragon sect a sect, it was more like a small family. Chu Fengmian did not intend to hide anything. Unless it was a secret like an extreme immortal weapon, the power of creation, or the divine tree, Chu Fengmian didn't need to hide it. Looking for someone? Why does senior brother know someone in the sacred dragon mystery ground? Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian with a strange expression. He also knew Chu Fengmian's background. Chu Fengmian came from the ancient Fey continent, a level 7 continent. It was said that no one from the ancient Fey continent had come to the sacred dragon's secret realm for decades. This time, both Chu Fengmian and Luya had come at once. Chu Fengmian suddenly said that he was looking for someone, which made Luo Kang feel a little strange. Just tell me who you're looking for. I've been in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane for so many years and I still have a few acquaintances. Just tell me who you're looking for. Hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fengmian didn't decline and directly said, I'm looking for 2 people. They should have come to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane half a year ago. One of them is Hanueli, and the other is Luo Shi. Both of them are women. Hanueli? Luo Shi? Hearing these 2 names, Luo Kang's eyes suddenly widened and he looked at Chu Fengmian with a strange expression. Why? Senior brother, are you also here to pursue these 2 women? Pursue these 2 women? Hearing this, Chu Fengmian also asked curiously. Why? Are there many people pursuing the 2 of them? Isn't senior brother the same? Hearing this, Luo Kang's expression became even more strange. He then said, Hanueli and Luo Shi only came to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane half a year ago. However, once they arrived, they displayed incomparably monstrous talent. In just half a year, their reputation spread throughout the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. Not only the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, but also many disciples from the Avalon of 5 Elements in Qilin Mountain came to pursue the 2 of them. There are even people who directly join the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane to pursue them. Isn't senior brother the same? Oh? You've misunderstood. I'm old acquaintances with the 2 of them. After hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fengmian suddenly realized that there were too many demon gods who came to pursue Hanueli and Luo Shi during this period of time. Therefore, Luo Kang thought that Chu Fengmian was also here to pursue Hanueli and Luo Shi. Old acquaintances? Could it be that you're from the same place as the 2 of them? Luo Kang carefully sized up Chu Fengmian and asked curiously. No wonder. Both of you are evildoers. Where exactly did you come from? Why are you evildoers so much stronger than the other? Then do you know where the 2 of them are now? Chu Fengmian did not continue the topic. The fact that Chu Fengmian was from the 9 regions could not be exposed. The 9 regions were once sacred grounds. Chu Fengmian did not think that the 9 regions had any history, but now he knew. If the 9 regions were exposed, there would be endless trouble in the future. Chu Fengmian had been a little reckless when he was in the ancient monster continent. At that time, Chu Fengmian had mentioned the 9 regions. Fortunately, the ancient monster continent did not know about the existence of the 9 regions. However, this was the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, an incomparably ancient force. There must be some old people in the sect who knew about the 9 regions. After hearing Luo Kang's words, Hanueli and Luo Shi obviously did not mention that they were from the 9 regions, let alone Chu Fengmian. If there's a chance, it would be better to meet the 2 of them. I know where they are, but now is not the right time. Luo Kang replied. The 2 of them are now the 2 geniuses that the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane has focused on nurturing. They should be in seclusion in one of the sacred grounds in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, so they can't come out. But if you have anything to say, I can help you send a message. When the 2 of them come out, they will see you. Send a message to them? That would be good. Chu Fengmian nodded inwardly when he heard Luo Kang's words. Since coming to the ancient monster continent, Chu Fengmian had lost contact with Hanueli and Luo Shi. Chu Fengmian could still rely on the bloodline power that he had left in the 2 of them to know that they were living in harmony. The 2 of them knew nothing about Chu Fengmian. Chapter 1309. With a thought, Chu Fengmian condensed a jade talisman. Within the jade talisman was the word Chu and the aura of the battle dragon art. Han Yueli and Luo Shi knew Chu Fengmian well, so they naturally knew the origin of this jade talisman. Even if someone else obtained it, it wouldn't expose Chu Fengmian's identity. Thank you. Chu Fengmian handed the jade talisman to Luo Kang. It's just a small matter for senior brother. It's nothing. Luo Kang smiled at Chu Fengmian and took the jade talisman. Luo Kang could also see that Chu Fengmian's current immortal realm cultivation was already enough to display such terrifying strength. When Chu Fengmian truly stepped into the Emperor realm in the future, he would most likely become a character comparable to the ancient Emperor. Both of them were disciples of the Holy Dragon sect, so it was a good thing to have a good relationship with Chu Fengmian. Right, senior brother, the worldly laws on your body haven't reached the limit yet, right? Luo Kang turned his head and looked at Chu Fengmian. He observed that Chu Fengmian had more than 100 worldly laws on his body. This was a shocking number for an immortal realm cultivator. One had to know that Luo Kang only had 500 worldly laws. Of course, this number was several times more than an ordinary 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but it was nothing compared to Chu Fengmian. However, Luo Kang could vaguely feel that the worldly laws on Chu Fengmian's body hadn't reached the limit yet. Not bad. Chu Fengmian nodded. After killing Shuiyang Noble in the Bone Temple, he took 18 worldly laws from him. Now, he had a total of 190 worldly laws on his body. This number was far from the limit of 300. 300 worldly laws should be Chu Fengmian's limit in the immortal realm. No matter what, he couldn't surpass this number. Chu Fengmian only had 190 worldly laws right now. His strength still had a lot of room for improvement. However, he didn't plan to condense the remaining 110 worldly laws casually. He wanted to condense a worldly law that was most suitable for him. I plan to study progenitor Jianwang's statue. Chu Fengmian suddenly thought of the medallion and said, "Oh? Study progenitor Jianwang's statue? That's right. Senior brother has the bloodline of the Dragon Clan and contains the power of Tianlong's bloodline. It's indeed the best choice to study Tianlong's statue." Luo Kang said to Chu Fengmian. "It's a coincidence that I have nothing to do. Let's go together." "Let's go together then." Chu Fengmian did not reject Luo Kang's kind intentions. He was still a newcomer to the sacred dragon mystery realm, and there were many things that he did not understand. With Luo Kang's help, it would be much more convenient. Let's go." With that, Luo Kang flashed and turned into a streak of light, leaving the Holy Dragon Temple. Chu Fengmian's escape light followed closely behind. Although the sacred dragon mystery dimension was vast, to cultivators of their level, it was a matter of a snap of their fingers no matter where they went. In an instant, Chu Fengmian followed Luo Kang to a square. The stone dragon statue was right in front of the plaza. Although it was very close, Chu Fengmian still felt that it was somewhat unreal when he looked at it. Is this a projection? Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered as he observed it. That's right. The progenitor statue we saw in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm was only a projection. Luo Kang nodded at Chu Fengmian's words. The progenitor statue is the top treasure in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. Of course, it can't be viewed by anyone. Disciples of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm need 100,000 contribution points to view the statue. Of course, that's only if they are qualified. If they aren't, they won't be able to view it no matter how many contribution points they spend. Of course, senior brother now has the progenitor's medallion, so you don't need contribution points. As for qualifications, there's nothing in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm that we Holy Dragon sect disciples are not qualified to do. Pride flashed in Luo Kang's eyes when he said this. Their Holy Dragon sect might not have many people, but it was still the head of the 4 sections. Even a disciple had a high status. Let's go. There's a transfer array in front. Once we enter it, we'll reach the place where we can comprehend it. Let's go in together. Luo Kang said as he led Chu Fengmian forward. There was a palace in the square. Many disciples of the Holy Dragon's secret realm were entering and exiting the palace. However, most of the Holy Dragon's secret realm disciples here had already stepped into the Emperor realm. Most of their identity tokens showed that they were true disciples. As for the inner sect disciples, they were extremely rare. As for Chu Fengmian, an immortal realm cultivator with the title of an ordinary disciple, he became an anomaly. Many curious gazes were cast towards Chu Fengmian. An ordinary disciple? He wants to comprehend the progenitor's statue? He doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Can he take out 100,000 contribution points? Lower your voice. Don't you see who's beside him? Luo Kang? It's him? Wait, he's a Holy Dragon sect disciple? There's a new disciple in the Holy Dragon sect? At this moment, many people saw the two words Holy Dragon on Chu Fengmian's identity token. Their faces changed. The Holy Dragon sect's recruitment of disciples was an earth-shattering event. Almost every Holy Dragon sect disciple would become a famous figure in the future. Their names would spread throughout the Holy Dragon secret realm. Even Luo Kang, who was the weakest, had done many great things. He was a well-known figure. An immortal realm cultivator? Is he qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect? Some of the true disciples said as they looked at Chu Fengmian with jealousy in their eyes. The Holy Dragon sect was a place that they dreamed of joining. However, none of them were qualified to join it. As for Chu Fengmian, he looked like he was only in the immortal realm. He had not even stepped into the boundary Emperor realm. Now, he had joined the Holy Dragon sect. How could they not be jealous? Lower your voice. This kid must be a Holy Dragon sect disciple. He must be a genius. So what? He's just an immortal realm cultivator. Even if he's a genius, it'll be easy for me to kill him. The cultivator said with dissatisfaction. However, he was extremely confident. After all, he was a four-tribulation true emperor. It was easy for him to deal with an immortal realm cultivator. Chapter 13:10. This cultivator was not the only one who had such thoughts. Many of the true disciples present were looking at Chu Fengmian with hostility. In their opinion, even they were not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian was just a newcomer. So what if he was the newcomer king? He was not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. After all, they were the newcomer kings when they first entered the Holy Dragon secret realm. Should someone go and teach this kid a lesson? That's right. An immortal realm kid actually became a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. We can't deal with those monsters, but it's easy for us to trample on him. Let's challenge him and see if he dares to accept. If he dares to accept, we'll teach him a good lesson. Chu Fengmian heard all the discussions. Looks like the identity of a Holy Dragon sect disciple is really eye-catching. Chu Fengmian could not help but mutter to himself. He could clearly see the hostility of the surrounding Holy Dragon secret realm disciples. Just a bunch of trash who only know how to be jealous. All of them want to join our Holy Dragon sect but are not qualified. Luo Kang heard the discussions and said with disdain. Of course, he knew what these people were thinking. There were many who wanted to challenge him and teach him a lesson. However, ever since Luo Kang defeated all the challengers, no one dared to make a fuss in front of him. This bunch of trash really think they can teach senior brother a lesson? How about it? Senior brother, do you want to find a few people to trample on and vent your anger? Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian with interest and said with a smile. Since he fought with Chu Fengmian, he naturally knew Chu Fengmian's strength. Although it was just a spar, Luo Kang might not be a match for Chu Fengmian even if he used his full strength. With such strength, it was easy for him to teach a few true disciples a lesson. Teach them a lesson? Chu Fengmian was not interested. These true disciples did not even interest Chu Fengmian in fighting. Of course, you can't teach them a lesson for free. Senior brother, you can bet with them. Luokan looked at Chu Fengmian and said with a smile. Betting is allowed in the Holy Dragon's secret realm. Teaching them a lesson will bring you benefits. Why not? Oh? Betting? Chu Fengmian's eyes lit up. He had won the primogenitor statue meditation token from young Master Mu. This also allowed Chu Fengmian to taste the sweetness. However, young Master Mu was just a newcomer. It was difficult for him to take out 100,000 contribution points. However, the wealth of these true disciples was not limited to this. The true inheritors of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension were capable of taking out 200,000 to 300,000 contribution points. Contribution points were wealth. Comprehending a single primogenitor statue would already cost 100,000 contribution points. Furthermore, in the Holy Dragon Mystery Ground, contribution points were required everywhere. Chu Fengmian had only earned 1,300,000 contribution points after obtaining a large number of demon bones from the Nether Ghost Realm. For a newcomer, this might be an astronomical figure. However, for a true disciple, even some wealthy true disciples would be able to take out this figure. To a core disciple, this amount of contribution points was nothing. If Chu Fengmian wanted to obtain the resources of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain, he would first need a large amount of contribution points. While Chu Fengmian and Luokan were chatting, a figure appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. It was the Four Tribulation True Emperor who was boasting earlier. You're Chu Fengmian, a new disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? This true disciple looked at Chu Fengmian, carefully sizing up Chu Fengmian, and said disdainfully. The dragon bloodline is nothing. I don't know how you joined the Holy Dragon sect. Brat, do you dare to fight with me? Not interested. Chu Fengmian glanced at the disciple and said. The bet was a good plan, but Chu Fengmian wanted to comprehend the primogenitor statue more than anything else. The moment Chu Fengmian laid his eyes on the statue, he could feel the dragon bloodline within his body boiling. Once he comprehended the statue, his strength would definitely take another step forward. As for the bet, it would be better to put it off for now. With that, Chu Fengmian prepared to continue forward. What? You don't dare? Since when did the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect become cowards? You don't even dare to accept a challenge. How can you be a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? When the pro-disciple saw that Chu Fengmian was about to leave, he immediately moved and blocked Chu Fengmian's path. Scram! Chu Fengmian's eyes flashed with impatience. He didn't want to make a move, but this disciple was asking for a yard after getting an inch. In an instant, a dragon's roar emerged from Chu Fengmian's body. As the dragon's roar resounded, a terrifying spiritual energy immediately forced the direct disciple to retreat. Want to leave? That's not up to you. You must fight with me today. The true disciple was forced back by the dragon roar, and his face turned cold. A ball of flame appeared on his body, and the power of the dragon roar resisted it. At the same time, he also attacked. The flame turned into a sea of fire and engulfed Chu Fengmian. Enough! Luokan, who was standing beside Chu Fengmian, suddenly let out a cold cry. He was somewhat unable to endure the continuous provocation of this true disciple. With a grab of his large hand, he extinguished the flame. Didn't you want to fight? Why don't you let me fight you instead? Luokan. The disciple's expression changed after seeing Luokan. He dared to provoke Chu Fengmian but not Luokan. Keep in mind that Luokan's cultivation was a bit lower at 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but he had defeated a 6 Tribulation True Emperor before. He didn't dare to fight Luokan. Humph, the disciple extinguished the flame and glared at Chu Fengmian. Hiding behind others as a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? You're a disgrace to the sect. Only a fly. If I don't kill it, it won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Impatience flashed in Chu Fengmian's eyes after hearing the disciple. It looked like they wouldn't leave until he taught them a lesson. Didn't you want to fight me? How about I fight you then? But just a fight is boring. Let's make the bet a little more interesting. What did you say? When that personal disciple heard Chu Fengmian's first sentence, he was enraged. However, when he heard the next sentence, the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Bet? Very well, looks like you don't just want to be trampled, you're here to give away money. What do you want to bet? Chapter 13:11. Many disciples of the sacred dragon's secret domain had a strange expression on their faces. Many of them were gloating over Jianwang's misfortune. Is this kid courting death? Does he really think that he's invincible after joining the sacred dragon sect? Although Jianwang is only a disciple of the 100 Battles Hall, he's still a 4 Tribulation True Emperor. An immortal realm cultivator challenging a 4 Tribulation True Emperor? Is this brat crazy? He's still too inexperienced. A newbie like him doesn't know the immensity of the sacred dragon's secret domain. Most of the sacred dragon's secret realm disciples present were originally extremely jealous of Chu Fengmian. Now that they saw Chu Fengmian challenge Jianwang, each and every one of them revealed expressions of anticipation. They were all prepared to see how Chu Fengmian would be humiliated. Say whatever you want. What do you want to bet? Jianwang looked at Chu Fengmian and sneered. He had heard of Chu Fengmian's monstrous talent. However, Chu Fengmian was only an immortal realm cultivator. He wasn't even a quasi-emperor yet. No matter how monstrous he was, how could he surpass 5 levels? Even the monstrous geniuses of the sacred dragon sect couldn't do it. What do you want to bet? Let's bet contribution points. How about 200,000 contribution points? Chu Fengmian smirked. 200,000 contribution points. You should be able to take it out. 200,000 contribution points? Jianwang sneered. 200,000 it is. This is mine. As Jianwang spoke, he took out his identity badge. With a tap of his finger, 200,000 contribution points flew out and hovered in the sky. Come. Chu Fengmian did the same. He took out his identity card and pointed his finger. 200,000 contribution points hovered in the sky. Then, he looked at Jianwang and said calmly, I'll let you make the first move. Otherwise, you'll say that I didn't give you a chance. Good, good, good. What an arrogant kid. Do you think that you're so great after joining the Sacred Dragon sect? Today, I'll tell you that the Sacred Dragon's secret domain isn't a place where you can be so arrogant. Jianwang's face darkened when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then, his body moved. Countless flames gushed out from his body. These flames were of different colors, but they continuously merged together in Jianwang's hands. There were more than 100 types of flames on his body. The power of a 4 Tribulation True Emperor and the power of the heaven and earth were all on top of it. Raging flames burning the heavens. Rumble. The flames on Jianwang's body swept towards Chu Fengmian as he threw out a punch. The terrifying shockwave forced many of the surrounding Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension disciples to retreat, afraid that they would be swept into the shockwave. Chu Fengmian, who was standing in front of Jianwang, smirked disdainfully when he saw the sea of flames. He casually grabbed at it with his palm. Boom! Chu Fengmian suddenly caught the ball of flame in his hand. The flame couldn't even burn Chu Fengmian's skin. Chu Fengmian kept fiddling with it in his hand. What? When Jianwang saw Chu Fengmian holding the ball of flame in his hand, he was shocked. His face was filled with disbelief. How could Chu Fengmian easily take his flame? But before he could react, Chu Fengmian had already attacked. Go! Then, Chu Fengmian's palm moved and the ball of flame flew towards Jianwang. Rumble! The flame that originally belonged to Jianwang became even more terrifying in Chu Fengmian's hands. It immediately engulfed Jianwang's body and continuously burned his skin. Ah! Everyone could see that Jianwang's body was still struggling in the flames. It was only when his body was burned that Chu Fengmian slowly pointed his finger and extinguished the flames. Although Jianwang's life was not in danger, this kind of injury was enough for him to recover for a few months. These 200,000 contribution points are mine. Chu Fengmian didn't even look at Jianwang, who had already fallen to the ground. He only made a grabbing motion with his hand, and the contribution points in the sky fell into Chu Fengmian's palm, merging into Chu Fengmian's jade talisman. As for defeating Jianwang, it was simply a trivial matter for Chu Fengmian. He didn't feel the slightest bit of joy. He didn't even turn his head and directly walked towards the palace. Until Chu Fengmian's figure left, many of the Sacred Dragon's Secret Realm disciples seemed to have woken up from a dream. Their faces were filled with incomparable shock. One move. Jianwang couldn't even withstand one move from Chu Fengmian and was instantly killed on the spot. How can this person be so powerful? A Sacred Dragon's Secret Realm disciple stammered. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Just now, he wanted to challenge Chu Fengmian, but Jianwang beat him to it. Now that he saw Jianwang's miserable appearance, he felt somewhat fortunate that he wasn't the one to challenge Chu Fengmian. Isn't this person only at the Immortal Realm? However, even more people didn't expect Chu Fengmian to defeat Jianwang. After all, Jianwang was also a direct disciple and a somewhat famous person in the 100 Battles Hall. Moreover, he was defeated with one move. It could be said that it was something that no one present could even dream of. The Sacred Dragon sect has another monstrous genius. This person is even more monstrous than Luo Kang from before. This is too terrifying. He's only a newcomer. How can a newcomer be so terrifying? Looking at Chu Fengmian's departing figure, there was no longer any provocation in their eyes. Instead, there was incomparable fear. Only strength was worthy of respect. Senior brother, your attack just now was a bit too ruthless. You frightened this group of trash. On the other side, Luo Kang and Chu Fengmian were walking towards the palace. Luo Kang smiled as he chatted with Chu Fengmian. He wasn't surprised by Chu Fengmian's attack. Previously, when Chu Fengmian fought with him, the strength he displayed was much more terrifying than this. Defeating Jianwang was only the tip of the iceberg. I was just testing him. I didn't expect him to be so weak. Hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fengmian felt a little helpless. He had only used 10 to 20% of his strength in his attack. In the end, Jianwang couldn't take it. It seemed that his successive encounters with Luo Kang, Qing Meng and the others had caused Chu Fengmian to misunderstand the disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. After all, not everyone was as monstrous as the disciples of the Sacred Dragon sect. However, these contribution points are really easy to earn. 200,000 contribution points for a single battle. It would be great if there were more challengers. Chu Fengmian looked at the additional 200,000 contribution points on the Jade Talisman. Chu Fengmian's mood was greatly improved. This method of earning contribution points was simply too fast. It was much faster than hunting demons and working for the sect. Chapter 13:12. Contribution points could not only be exchanged for the enlightenment of the progenitor statue, but also spirit treasures, and other wondrous items. Of course, it wasn't easy to accumulate contribution points. Only by killing devils or doing things for the sect would one be able to earn contribution points or hand over treasures. Even a direct disciple would need several years to accumulate 200,000 contribution points. But now, Chu Fengmian could easily earn 200,000 contribution points from a single battle. It was indeed a great profit. Now, Chu Fengmian wanted more of these provocative martial artists to come. The more, the better. He wouldn't refuse anyone. Senior brother is so ruthless. I'm afraid no one will dare to come in a short period of time. Luo Kang looked at Chu Fengmian and said helplessly. His senior brother was indeed too monstrous. His eternal realm was comparable to a 6th tribulation true emperor. Who would believe this? Moreover, Chu Fengmian had the king of inner demons that even Emperor Gu was extremely wary of. Chu Fengmian could probably contend against Emperor Gu for a bit. Of course, defeating Emperor Gu was something Chu Fengmian couldn't do at the moment. It's fine. If no one comes, I can take the initiative to find someone. Chu Fengmian said with a smile. He could also tell that the disciples of the sacred dragon mystic realm were all extremely talented and arrogant individuals. As long as I set up a stage, there will be an endless stream of challengers. At that time, I can make a fortune by betting. Set up a stage? That's a good idea. Luo Kang immediately laughed after hearing Chu Fengmian's words. With senior brother's cultivation, I'm afraid there will be a lot of people who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth coming to challenge you. At that time, we'll be rich if each person can earn 200,000 contribution points. If each person was worth 200,000 contribution points, then 10 people would be worth 2 million contribution points. If there was an endless stream of disciples coming to bet, then the wealth would come faster than printing money. Chu Fengmian had come up with the idea of setting up an arena on a whim. Given Chu Fengmian's status as a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect, there were probably countless people who wanted to challenge Chu Fengmian. After all, Chu Fengmian was a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Defeating a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect was an honor in the entire Holy Dragon secret realm. They would not let go of such an opportunity to trample on the Holy Dragon sect's disciple. Let's go and study the primogenitor's statue first. Chu Fengmian suppressed this thought for the time being. He and Luo Kang had already arrived in front of the palace. Seeing Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang enter together, many of the sacred dragon's secret dimension disciples within the palace turned to look at them. A Holy Dragon sect disciple? That's Luo Kang, and that's this year's newcomer. I think he's called Chu Fengmian. A newbie actually became a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. I don't know what kind of luck he has. Many curious gazes looked over. Of course, there were also many hostile gazes, but Chu Fengmian was already used to it. However, inside the palace, no one dared to provoke Chu Fengmian. They were all discussing at the side. Senior brother, come over here. Luo Kang directly called out to Chu Fengmian and led him into the palace. Inside the palace, Chu Fengmian saw many teleportation formations of various sizes. In front of each teleportation formation, there was a stone tablet with something carved on it. Sword Palace? The place where a sword principal expert of the sacred dragon secret dimension, Sword Honorable Dragon Dance, comprehended the Tao. It's enough to comprehend the Supreme Sword Principle? Chu Fengmian casually glanced over and saw the content written on the stone tablet in front of a teleportation formation. The history of the Dragon Dance Sword Venerable was recorded in detail in the book. Sword Honorable Dragon Dance, Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations, a half-step heavenly being. He was considered an expert in the history of the sacred dragon secret dimension. His comprehending Tao place had now become a sacred place in the sacred dragon secret dimension, named Sword Palace. At the bottom of the 10 times, there was a number of 30,000 written on it. This meant that it would cost 30,000 contribution points to enter Sword Palace to comprehend the Tao. Of course, other than Sword Palace, the stone tablets in front of each teleportation formation recorded the place behind the teleportation formation. Most of them were the comprehending Tao places of the experts of the sacred dragon secret dimension. An emperor's comprehension of the Tao was enough to affect everything around him. If one cultivated in such a place and carefully comprehended the Tao, it might be enough to comprehend the Tao of that expert. The sacred dragon secret dimension is truly terrifying. Chu Fengmian carefully looked at the stone tablets. The existences recorded on each tablet were 9 tribulations true emperors and half-step geniuses. Half-step celestial being was a person who had surpassed ordinary 9 tribulation ancient emperors. Even Chu Fengmian had never seen such a person before. The strongest expert Chu Fengmian had seen should be the Sword Tao Master. However, Chu Fengmian still didn't know how strong the Sword Tao Master was. After all, what Chu Fengmian knew was the memories of his previous life. At that time, he only knew that the Sword Tao Master was strong, but he didn't know how strong the Sword Tao Master was. However, Chu Fengmian had yet to meet an existence comparable to the Sword Tao Master. How many experts have been born in the sacred dragon secret dimension? Chu Fengmian glanced at the stone tablets. The number of stone tablets was enough to count. This also meant that there were at least thousands of half-step geniuses from the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension. This caused Chu Fengmian to be incomparably shocked. Although he had previously guessed how powerful the Sacred Dragon's secret realm was, this had still exceeded his expectations. Furthermore, the Tao comprehension grounds that had been left behind represented the foundation of the Holy Dragon's secret realm. If every disciple of the Holy Dragon's secret realm were to comprehend the Tao comprehension grounds, their cultivation speed would definitely be much faster than if they were to cultivate outside. It was even enough to pass down the inheritances of these experts from generation to generation. In this way, the number of experts in the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension would only increase. I wonder what kind of peerless expert the creator of the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension was. I'm afraid he was a heavenly being. Chu Fengmian muttered to himself. Why? Senior brother, are you surprised? Luo Kang said with a smile when he saw Chu Fengmian's expression. When I first came here, I was also very surprised. However, later on, I figured it out. The Sacred Dragon's secret dimension has been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years. However, there are only about 1,000 stone tablets here. Only one peerless expert is born every few hundred years. That's not many. 1,000 half-step heavenly beings seem to be a lot. However, the Sacred Dragon Mystery Realm was also incomparably ancient. It took several hundred years for such an exceptional expert to be born. There were not many of them. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.